How's it going, everybody? This is the Uncanny Omar from Near Mint Condition, the home of collected editions, and welcome to today's episode. This is another live stream that we are doing today with some familiar faces on the channel, but I'm going to let these familiar faces introduce themselves before we even talk about the subject. So to my right is Peter M. from CrushingCrisis.com. What is it that you do there, my friend?
Oh, a little bit of all things related to comics. I track how to collect Marvel and DC comics in collected editions and also give some reading orders for your favorite characters and teams. And then I also cover new releases there. And I'm going to be getting back to doing that this week after my little Northern Hemisphere summer, Southern Hemisphere winter break.
Awesome. And underneath me is Lars.
Lars Pearson, publisher and editor-in-chief of Mad Norwegian Press, formerly of Wizard Magazine, and it's a great pleasure to be here. And what is, I think, like kind of a roundup of Marvel's omnibuses. You know, we're going to kind of marinate in all the releases we know about. It's like slipping into a warm bath. Okay, it's just kind of soothing. Omar is your bar of dial, Peter is your loofah, and Jess is your oil of Olay.
I was wondering where I would come in on that.
Last but not least is the oil of Olay. Already cracking up.
I'm Omnidog from Omnidog's Vault. Thank you for having me. I do videos on comic books on YouTube and post them on Instagram under Omnidogs_Vault. And I have a Discord that's a lot of fun at Omnidog's Vault. And of course, super producer James. Oh, I'm only 10 people away from 9,000. Thank you.
10 people.
Well
9,000.
done. Well done.
That is bigger than some of the towns here in Kentucky, my friend. Mr. Tex, thank you so much for the super sticker. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Let me just quickly talk about what we're doing today and why this is very, very important. Today, I am going to be going over every single one of the Omnis that I've announced. And this is the only place that I'm paying attention to where people ask me, hey, Omar, can you add this? Can you add this? Because since the announcements, I've gotten emails and Discord messages and Patreon messages and Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook messages, and I can't keep up with everything. So this is the one place where I ask people to come in, and you can even comment if you're watching this later, if you feel like something needs to be added. And if enough people ask, of course I will. It's just the way that I've done this for the last couple of years, and I find that easier. Sometimes Marvel says yes to adding books. Sometimes they say no, and we just, we roll with it. And it's up to you whether you want to buy it or not. We've made some major changes in the past. We've added some major big books in the past, so anything is possible. But I will say sometimes they say no. And just don't get ridiculous like, hey, Omar, can you add like 24 issues to this omnibus, please? More than likely they're going to say no. But just, giving you a heads up.
Can we have an oil of Olay omnibus?
No.
Like all the moisturizer ads that Marvel's put out. Greatest hits.
What did you
Marvel's Clearasil ads of the 90s? Can we get? I do think it would be fun if we could get. That's the one allure of when they do those perfect reproductions, whether that's in a hardcover or just as a single issue that have the ads. I love old advertising, not even old, 90s, 80s, 70s advertising, and I think that would be fun to get an Marvel advertising omnibus.
That would be fun. I'd like one from the 60s with DC with those X-ray specs and black hand soap and...
Oh, I love the DC Comics ads from the 60s. Like, get an alligator in the mail, 1999.
Sea monkeys.
And then have you ever like gone out and searched for people who actually would order like an alligator or a monkey from the ads in comic books? Like they really got an alligator or a monkey.
Quick digression that I've talked about before. My high school classroom, the bio lab, had an actual alligator in there, and I think it was ordered through the mail. And yeah, actually he ordered two. One of them passed away, but the other, it was just called Al. And alligators live a long time. They live for decades. And he just became a fixture of the school. And we'd be having class and he'd be getting rambunctious, and the teacher had to stop teaching to go over and either feed him hot dogs or just kind of thwack him until he went back in the water.
Is that you or the alligator?
Well, I mean, either way. I thought
you were in Iowa.
Yeah. Well, We have
alligator in Iowa.
we
Okay.
have an alligator. Yeah, it was a tank in the classroom, and then during the summer they would put him out in the farm. And he would just kind of run around the farm and I don't know, eat squirrels or something. Who knows? But then they put him back in the classroom. Yeah.
You know, it never ceases to amaze me how much I learn about you, Lars, and then immediately how much I didn't need to know that. That's crazy. Okay. I'm so excited. We're finally getting Fatal Attractions as an omnibus. You guys think we will get Executioner Song? Didn't it make it? I think that one made it in our top 20. I actually need to go ahead and look at that list really quick.
Yeah.
If you give me 1 second. 2020. Oh, look at that. I have it handy because I send these to David every year, and as you all know, for the last how long have I been doing this? Like I suggested some the first year, him and I connected, and then I was like, oh, I think our people probably need to vote on this. So I started doing that. So I think this is the 5th or 6th year I've been doing it and sending the info to Marvel, and they have reprinted every year 19 to 20 of the top 20.
Wow.
So it's been really good. I mean, there's a big one here that wasn't it wasn't in the last 2 years, and people are like, "Oh, there's no way." I was like, "Well, maybe it's too much," but they decided to do it. Bishop's Crossing
Executioner Song was as an omnibus. Oh, pardon?
It was number 1. You all voted for number 1. So that
not
is something.
only was it number 1 on the reprint poll, but on the omnibus poll, a combined Executioner Song and Bishop's Crossing was number 13.
Yeah.
So we want it bad.
Yeah. So hopefully, much like my suggestion of putting Days of Future Present with X-Men Extinction Agenda and make it into a wonderful new omnibus, they'll do the same with Bishop's Crossing and Executioner Song. So I'm sorry if you're that person that's like, oh, but that's going to devalue my reprint. I want people to enjoy these things, and in order for that to happen, reprints are just they just have to happen.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Halo Tangle asking the proper question at 6:43. This is already funny.
Wow.
6:43. Somebody who was asking. I'm sorry. Who was it?
Halo Tangle.
All right, let me see if I can find Halo at 6:43.
Well, no,
why are you like
this?
I don't know what Warren said, but we're all wondering that.
He's up there starting trouble.
Well, again, I was the price guide manager for Wizard, and of course, if something's out of print, yeah, you're right, it does go up on the back market, but reprint it, crush their dreams, crush them. Because people should be able to buy these books. That's what's more important.
Yeah, right.
What are we talking about? And I get it that people are impatient too, and they're like, I want the book and I want it now. I'm going to pay outrageous prices for it. That's up to you. Whatever you do with your money, it is completely up to you. And if you've got that kind of, disposable income, good on you. Fellas, we are going to be talking about every single content, and then I'm going to take suggestions. Like I said, sometimes Marvel has said no, and sometimes they've said yes. So you never know. RoboCop Omnibus, I believe the last license holder of RoboCop was IDW after Dark Horse. So where are they reprinting the Claremont and Jim Lee Omnis? Well, that's why the reprint polls are very important. That's when you all can come and vote. That was a huge deal when that got reprinted. Huge. And I remember people were like, oh, they overprinted. These are going on Ollies. And now look again. People want the book printed again. Because there's always going to be new fans. There's going to be new collectors. So are you responsible for that hodgepodge? You're welcome, Tyler. Did this stream just start? What's up, man? How are you doing?
Johnny boy. What up, buddy?
Question for the people who read it. Does the quality of Wolverine start to drop with Omnibus Volume 6? We're going to get there, I promise, but I'm going to go ahead and answer before anybody beats me to it. Yes.
That seems to be the common opinion. Yeah.
Yes. Do whatever you want to with your money. I spent a lot of money on that. We'll never print it again. Limited edition of Usagi Yojimbo special edition for Fantagraphics.
Yeah. The one that I did show up for was actually I bought a Quantum and Woody omnibus just because Valiant keeps swearing they're never gonna reprint their omnibuses. So, and I didn't pay that much for it, but it was
now that Alien Books is actually printing their Valiant books. They've done a really good job. Like the epic size books that they're putting out.
Yeah.
The Alien, so it's Alien Books, but it's Valiant Origin
Sure.
Like the
Yeah, I
hero
just saw
origins.
your overview on them actually.
They're amazing. Like, I'm not kidding. I was blown away by. Okay, first of all, I hadn't read this, and this is the first time I'm reading the 2012 Valiant stuff.
It was
Every
great.
single one of those
Valiant
books were
booking
amazing.
for like 3-4 years. It was just like every book was pretty great.
Yeah.
I was, I remember my viewers. I remember when I was on Omnibros, people were going on about it because not everybody had read it. Because the problem was, once you thought, oh, I need to get in on this, you couldn't find Book of Death. You couldn't find the first, what was it? I think it was Bloodshot and Exo Man of War.
Yeah.
Gone. And if you know me, I was like, I need deluxe edition in hardcover format, or I'm not going to read this. And that's what happened. And I waited.
Well, Book of Death is actually why I dropped it, because Book of Death, I think, was the one that had that like some Necromancer side series that was local comic store floppy only, and they're like, we're not going to collect it. That tends to be bluster a lot of times, and it gets collected later. But as somebody who's a dedicated trade raider, I don't even think I was digital at that point. I think I was buying every Valiant book in trade. I was like, well, F me then. Like, I guess I'm never going to get to read it. So I was like, okay, goodbye. One shared universe over. I just get very frustrated when shared universes who like are trying to draw you into reading every book.
Wait, I'm
like
trying to
dangle a carrot like that.
But they did collect that one. I think.
Eventually, it got collected.
Okay.
Yeah, later on, but it wasn't in the format, I think.
Okay.
Is there any chance for 3D Man getting any collected? It would be part of the Agents of Atlas, right? I would like that, actually.
The Book of Death did get a deluxe.
Yes,
right. But in the chat, somebody just pointed out the side issues never got collected.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
So okay.
Yeah.
That was David. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I am.
Okay.
But we otherwise the number of reprints these days. I mean, like, I would think Claremont and Lee is going to get reprinted again. You just might be waiting a while.
Yeah, I think it will. But that's why I say it's important to always vote every year on the books that you want
absolutely
the most.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna go ahead and share this, and we can go ahead and get started.
Okay.
Little mistake here, but that's okay. And that is, it's from February to July of 2025.
July. Snuck a few more in there.
So, and I'll tell you all some behind the scenes stories as long as I can tell them.
Sure.
Nothing too crazy about some of these announcements, except for a couple of them, like going back and forth. Black Panther by Hudlin, Volume 1. It still says Volume 1. When I first got the email, it was just Black Panther by Reggie Hudlin, not Volume 1. And that's what's collected, the 41 issue series. The crossover with Peter Milligan's X-Men 175 to 176, annual number 1, the Black Panther, the next series 1 through 6, Captain America Black Panther Flags of Our Fathers miniseries, and the Saga and annual number 1, the C story, which makes sense because that was during the Ta-Nehisi Coates era, and he only wrote like that one story that kind of wraps up one of the loose ends.
There's a great map. I mean, we've needed this forever.
It's a huge book.
It directly follows Priest. So anybody out there is saying, should I get this? Like, if you've bought the 2 Priest books, or if Christopher Priest Black Panther isn't for you and you want to read the next thing after it, this is sequentially next. And the map in my mind is just about flawless.
Yeah,
I think, there's enough. I'm sorry, I clicked on the wrong thing. Milligan. Of course you like Milligan X-Men more. Of course you do. There is material afterwards, but not by Hudlin. Hudlin plotted the next few issues, and then we got that whole Doom War thing. There is enough material for it, and then we got like Black Panther, Man Without Fear. So I'm just curious what they're going to call it, though. If they're going to call it Black Panther by Hudlin Volume 2.
It could be Mayberry and Liss. It could be Hudlin 2.
Right.
There's just a little scotch of Hudlin material in there.
That's what I'm thinking. Like, there's not that much Hudlin left. And just looking at the mapping, I don't think he did anything afterwards. So I think this one is fine. This is big. It's got everything. It's got the crossover. They even, I think when they sent it to me, they didn't have the C story from 2018, and then they added it. So they really thought about this.
It's perfect. It's
almost
almost exactly
Ward on the stream saved us a lot. Oh my god, I'd love to have Ward on the stream one day.
Awesome covers too.
Now my favorite Panther is the Christopher Priest Panther, but
me too.
I know that one is a little harder to get into. This is your just, I don't want to say run of the mill, but this is your superhero story. It jumps right into a superhero story. There's no going back and forth in time or anything like that. It's all just linear. There's no jumping around. It's easy to follow.
Yeah, if you liked the Wakanda stuff established by Priest, but if Priest just bends your brain a little bit too much, this is very Wakanda based. But then it also is a little bit more, as Omar said, straightforward narrative.
Yeah, and Priest is very much
is introduced through here too.
Yeah.
Priest
is very much a signature book. I mean, if you scrubbed off all the names, it would be really obvious that it's him. And I love it. I absolutely love it. But yeah, if you want more straightforward Black Panther, this is good.
All right. Let's keep on going because we got a few books, and I promise I'm going to come back to these and ask questions too. Ultimate Fantastic Four Volume 1, another book that was being asked about when I started announcing Ultimate reprints, Ultimate Spider-Man, Ultimate X-Men. When are we going to get Ultimate Fantastic Four? So here it is, 1 through 32, and annual number 1. The introduction of the... No, that's a little bit of a spoiler if people haven't read it. Never mind. Forget I said that. That's a spoiler. It is written... This is an interesting comic, though. It's like Brian Michael Bendis, Mark Miller, and Warren Ellis working on this title. Yeah. This is actually closer to the last Fanfare stick movie, like that kind of story. And if you like that movie, hey, yeah. But people really, people love the Ultimate Universe, and they've been craving more and more. I will say there is another Ultimate Omnibus that I was going to announce for March of 2025. They pulled it. And when they pull something, it usually means they'll show up later. I even had the mapping. I only had one of the covers, but that was it. So there was going to be another Ultimate blank Omnibus that I was going to announce for March. I hadn't recorded the video, and then they decided to shake things up a little bit. And I'll tell you what book took its place here in a little bit.
This, by the way, again, mapped in a totally obvious way. It has exactly the contents of the first 3 deluxe oversized hardcovers. The second half of this, there are 3 more deluxe oversized hardcovers to collect. So there really should be absolutely no surprises. If they wanted to throw in one curveball, you could argue that maybe they could continue the second book to collect the 6 issues of Ultimate FF 2014, but that was really separate from the series because it was after Ultimatum.
So then where would you put the Ultimate Galactus trilogy?
That's really interesting, and we kind of wrestled with that as we were mapping for the poll. It could have its own kind of like event book. The Galactus trilogy, Ultimate Nightmare, Ultimate Secret, Ultimate Extinction. You could also throw in Ultimate Vision. That would be a pretty solid little omnibus on its own. I actually would like to see it in this omnibus line, but I don't foresee that happening personally.
Ultimate Secret, I think one miniseries would work better than the others.
Yeah,
no one likes that Fantastic Four. No. I don't know, Bruce. Maybe Ultimate Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch stay gone, though. Yes. By the way, Nocturne. I have to give a shout out to Nocturne. Every time I see Nocturne show up, has been following my channel since day one.
Oh boy, okay.
First episode when it was a panel channel that we just, I think it's called Not That Type of. He was looking for a pickle video or something, and he found our channel and has been watching ever.
Into it.
I have known Nocturne, I guess, 8 years now, man. It's crazy. And he still shows up. I love it.
Does he have Stockholm syndrome? I mean, that's why.
Yes.
And have you ever brought pickles on the channel, Omar, after all this time?
No, it was Tina that brought the pickle, okay? NMC, Reels Talk, Fantastic Four. Amanda gave it a 4 out of 10. I gave it a 3.5 out of 10. Okay, some people like it. All right, next. Dark Web. This is another event omnibus that collects the entirety of Dark Web. I'm not sure how it's mapped. I will make sure to ask. I love you, Nocturne. I will make sure to ask that they take some time mapping it, unless the files have already been sent. I can't imagine, though, this is coming out in February, but who knows?
I've got it mapped perfectly, so call me, David Gabriel.
You want David to call you? Okay. Well, it wouldn't be David. It would be one of his collected editions editor. And I don't
they're the ones with the restraining
orders. I don't want to call any names out.
Yeah.
That is a wraparound cover. As a matter of fact, a little behind the scenes, when I announced it, I had the front, and David said, "No, you show the full. I'm getting you the full cover," and the full cover wasn't like in high res. so they had to make the whole cover in high res. That's why it's like so I know it's a wraparound cover. So Dark Web is the latest Spider-Man event. It's during the Zeb Wells era, and I know the question already. Will this be collected in a Zeb Well omnibus? Absolutely. But only Dark Web and Amazing Spider-Man. I don't see Dark Web X-Men being collected in there, Miss Marvel being collected in there, Gold Goblin. And the one thing I'm going to go ahead and start taking notes. The one thing I've been seeing people ask me for is to add the Hallows Eve series.
Okay. Yeah, in continuity, it happens a good deal after this, but it is so much an epilogue to this.
Yeah, it's the epilogue.
They could, and it has Spider-Man in it, but I don't think it would appear in a Zeb Wells Spider-Man omnibus because it's pretty far off to the side, and Spider-Man's not even in every issue. And I believe it's written by Erica Schultz, who's great on everything with Hallows Eve. So it actually fits way, way better here. And they've already put all of Gold Goblin here, which was not exclusively all part of Dark Web. So it's kind of like, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, I whatever makes it better. And honestly, where else are you going to collect Hallows Eve?
It was really good, actually. It's better than most of the material in this book.
This
Marvel series was great.
We're in the third book. How are you lost?
Hallows Eve is a great action figure. I really want to read the book.
Oh, you should read it. It's really fun. It's her being an action figure.
Yeah, pretty much.
Good.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
All right. So as I said, it will probably 100% be collected in a Zeb Well omnibus. I'm not announcing a Zeb Well omnibus, but I'm just letting you know in case double dipping. It's happened in the last few years with all these event omnis.
I had a little hard time getting into that Dark Web, although it's probably my fault. But it felt like it was kind of a spiritual successor to Inferno, but it was that they were clones and that they were wronged because they were clones. And I don't know. It's probably my fault, but it felt a little muddled.
No, it never got Inferno enough for me. Like, it never burned hot enough. It was such a good concept of like, wow, we're going to sequel Inferno. It's going to be all about, Maddie and Ben Reilly as clones. And I was like, oh, that's hot. Like, that's a great way to
I actually like the concept. Like, okay, it makes sense for two people that feel rejected by everyone to get together and break hell loose in New York City.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. It just never got as heated as I wanted it to get.
I mean, nothing is as good as Inferno. They were eating mailbox like people.
There were mailboxes. Mailboxes were attributed.
Okay.
It wasn't an elevator that ate a family.
Oh, that's dark. When I read that to Kid Crisis, I was like, this is a lot.
The one that you all voted for coming back to print, X-Men Fatal Attractions. Every year I like to put a oversized hardcover in the omnibus reprint poll. And Marvel has done an amazing job of bringing these oversized hardcovers and putting an omnibus label on it and bringing them back to print. Yeah. So this does collect the event, again, of Fatal Attractions. But also, Peter, you and I have never really talked about this particular era of Omnis and the way they were thinking about mapping Omnis back then, because they weren't Omnis, they were oversized hardcovers. Yeah. And sometimes there would be oversized hardcovers, and then sometimes it would be an omnibus. And back then, we were so out of it. We're like, okay, I know in your head you thought like I did. They're thinking ahead. 315's collected in here. That makes sense because Fatal Attractions will have those missing issues. So this is when I realized that Marvel had planned maps ahead of time. And even though, there is going to be double dipping, like, with Wolverine, with Excalibur, with X-Men. No, this is the next one on my X-Men reading order. Fatal Attractions comes after Executioner's Song. Because Executioner's Song,
remember, is they were planning ahead, but the idea was that each puzzle piece they laid down in this main line had to just fill a block of Uncanny X-Men, and then if other stuff got double dipped or referenced, that wasn't their problem at that time. So that's why if we were to redo this now with our perfect knowledge, we would have picked up some things that are in scattershot to put in this from X-Men 1991, because you'll notice there's only one issue of X-Men 1991 in this that was running alongside Uncanny X-Men. But at the time, they weren't really concerned with X-Men 1991. There were plenty of issues of that hadn't been an oversized hardcover. They were just filling in the puzzle pieces of Uncanny X-Men. Eventually, one day, we will get omnibuses that are mapped more like the Epic collections that will replace this. Mark my words. That day is probably like 4 or 5 years away from now.
Yes. Yeah, we got a while to go. And when people ask me, like, I think, because people do genuinely ask, what should they do? And it's a very difficult position to be in. Like, I don't want to tell you what to do with your money, because also I don't know what the end game is going to look like.
Well,
I don't know how long
Yeah.
it's going to be before we get there.
Yeah.
So when people ask me like, what would you do? Now that's a better question. I'm an idiot. I'll tell you exactly what I'll do. I'll buy this stupid ass
Buy
thing,
all
and then
of
I'll
them.
buy the normal
Buy
volume
all
when
of
it
them.
comes out. And that's just the way I am. But
Yeah.
don't be like me.
Yeah, your answer is just buy all of them, whether I should or not. Absolutely, positively. No, and again, I can like counsel making decisions based on the world in which we live now, not the hypothetical one that we might live 4 to 5 years from now. I think therein madness lies. If people want to get this one, get it. Go ahead. That it might be reshuffled in 5 years, I don't know.
Well, and the same thing's happening with like Spider-Man. Eventually,
Absolutely.
Spider-Man by Michelini and Bagley,
Sure.
Spider-Man by McFarlane, Spider-Man by Michelini and Eric Larson.
Yeah.
They'll be replaced.
Yep.
Uncle Raj is just a few years from being replaced, not he himself, but his omnibus and
Never.
Spider-Man. Now, back to this. Somebody was asking, add X-Men 19 to 24.
Yeah, this is not an ad, though, because this is a direct reprint.
Yeah, this is exactly. So when it comes to a reprint, that is like a, woo, we already got the files. We're sending them to the print. By the way, if you find any mistakes, James, who is here, he's been keeping a master sheet of all the misprints and omnis in the past, so I can let Marvel know.
Okay.
Please make sure not to reprint it with the mistake again. Like Silver Surfer, when I announced that, I remember there was a misprint in the second printing, not the third or first printing. So I have to remember, and he's keeping that sheet for me. So if you know of any of these, I think this was 298. This actually has the fixed issue, right, Peter? When I don't want to say who, somebody proposed this to somebody in the comic book. That
No, the proposal is
306. 306, isn't it?
Oh yeah. Oh, that proposal. Yes, it's 306.
Yeah, 306.
298 by 299, by the way. Two of my favorite issues of Uncanny X-Men. Really good. Professor Xavier goes on like a cable news show, and so does Beast, and they're like arguing against why mutants shouldn't be discriminated against, which reads just as brilliantly today with the things going on today than it did 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Fixing misprints is helpful, because I think I'm right in saying that when the original Crisis and Infinite slipcase came out, I think I'm right in saying that they had to do a recall because on the kind of monitor tapes thing, there was a panel that was duplicated. And I remember talking to someone in the industry at the time, and they said, well, instead of recalling them, why don't they just issue stickers to patch over this? I'm like, you want to sell them a pristine slipcase, and then when there's a glitch, have them put a sticker over the mistake. I don't think that's a good idea.
Yeah, rather than pulping a run of slipcased hardcovers, yes. Tip-ins are a thing.
My favorite,
which is that much, and then issue a sticker. I mean,
by the way, it was Uncanny X-Men 308 is the one I was thinking of. My favorite thing about a misprint was the Absolute Kingdom Come. The first printing is one full page is missing dialogue, like bubbles, word bubbles.
Oh, whoops.
If you ever meet Mark Waid, he will know. He's like, is that the first printing? And he fills it in for you. And I'm like, okay, this is the best Absolute edition I can own. Because Mark Waid handwrites. He was like, yeah, there was a misprint.
Yeah.
So this is a straight up reprint. And the next book you're looking for is the Wedding of Cyclops and Phoenix after this. So
the Onyx.
Thank you for that, buddy.
Oh, look at this.
I have it.
Wow.
This was number one, right?
Volume 1. Yeah, voted as the number one most wanted Omni. I just interviewed her last week. She is really excited, and she was completely adorable how she found out that this was coming out. And then she was asking me, she was like, wait, what did she say? She was like, when did I start? Was it was it in the 240s, or it was right before we went live? And I was like, no, it's 234. It's in there. It's all in there. I promise it's all in there. So yeah, you have your standard edition cover by John Romita Jr. and then the direct market cover by Keith Pollard. 234 to 266 and Punisher number 10. So this has been collected in Epic Collections as well, but now coming out in omnibus format for the people that have been wanting this run in an oversized format. Of course. Why doesn't that surprise me?
I mean, Daredevil's a character that there are an impressive number of omnibuses. I mean, other solo titles struggle to get them out, but this one's doing really well.
Now, give me that.
Jess, are you a big fan of this run? Jess, are you a fan of this run?
Sorry. Yeah.
Nocenti?
Actually, I'm sorry. I didn't hear that. Yeah, I am. I have it in. That's actually, I think that's the only thing I have left in Epic format. I can say that because Curtis isn't here. That's the only thing I have left in Epic format. And now I can sell those, and then I'll have no epics whatsoever. I can only say that because Curtis isn't here.
Except for Generation X.
Wow.
Oh yeah, that's right. I still have 3 or 4 Gen X ones. Yeah.
Any idea of those awesome house ads will be included in the back of the Dare? I think they really do a good job when it comes to the back matter of these things. Really, Warren? BJ Chacha? You know what? I would too. I actually love his run, which people hate. I get it.
But I love Warren more and more with every stream because Warren, it seems random, but as we learn more, Warren just has a very specific aesthetic, and I respect that. Look, a lot of people, when they look at this map, might be saying like, oh, it's so bare. Where's all the other stuff? No, this is it. There are other things like OGNs and stuff, and if you look at the epic mapping, they're all after 266. Originally, we feared that they would actually try to just do a 1-volume Nocenti book that skipped any issue that Nocenti didn't write. That
this has a lot.
Many gaps. That's not this. The second volume of this, when it arrives, will actually have things other than just Daredevil, probably, because that's how the epics are mapped.
I really, 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 really hope that in volume 2, and I will suggest this, in the final volume, we get Elektra 100 collected in there, even though it takes place years later, because it was left out of the Chip Zdarsky Omnibus, and rightly so. It doesn't really belong in there, but it does have the Nocenti story. I would love that to be collected in an oversized format somewhere.
Yeah.
This does take place after Frank Miller. However, it's not immediately after Frank Miller leaves the book. We've got actually a couple of omnis in between that could take place.
Yeah.
Let's go to Amazing Spider-Man Volume 6,
right.
which I was really happy to announce. And I knew there would be some backlash, not everybody, but there would be some backlash when it came to the mapping of this book. And that is because it is on the rather slim side. Now, this is the way that I announced it. Later on, I believe they added what if issues, but they're not there anymore. And I don't know. I can't. Let me look at PRH really quick because I think the catalog pulled those issues out. Now, the first Spider-Man Omnibus, that's still the biggest one, right? Of Amazing Spider-Man, like the classic stuff.
Or
Masterworks, right?
Masterworks.
Yeah.
So this would be 2 Masterworks, right?
Maybe 2.5, which is weird. Usually they are very predictable about hitting that 3 Masterworks mark. But Amazing Spider-Man Volume 19, you can tell that we're 1 off because the first one was 4 because 19 is not visible by 3. Amazing Spider-Man 19 goes to 202, and then Amazing Spider-Man 20 goes to 212. So we're cutting 20 in the middle, which is unusual for this line.
What else is collected in there? So they're on the catalog. It says what if 1, 7, and 19, and then material from what if number 8. I was wondering what those Masterworks collect.
The Masterworks 19 has the Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man annual, which is here. It also has annual 13, which is here. And then number 20 has annual 14, but that's in that latter half of 20 with issues 207 through 2012, which aren't in here. There must be a reason. It must have to do with supporting material that they're going to add in addition to Masterworks in Volume 7 that made them want to push that forward.
This one is 792 pages, making it the slimmest classic Amazing Spider-Man Omni. Roger Stearns starts off with 206, right? But then jumps ahead because he didn't write those in between until he came and took over the title, right, Peter?
Yes.
Okay. So this does map right up there with Roger Stern, but then you're skipping some issues, which is what people are like, oh, we want those issues. Oh my gosh, I don't have the mapping memorized in my head. I know it's crazy. But I think it starts at 220 something, doesn't it?
Stern 224.
Okay. Well, I can tell you they're probably not going to add.
Well, and that's what makes this so weird because 224 is the first issue of a Masterworks. But there's no way that they could get this to all the way to 223. It's just one of those weird map things. Like Marvel Stern is not going to map perfectly to this line, y'all. It's not.
Well, no,
Stern, it's not. Yeah.
Well, I think that's something I have said on my Saturday streams. Like,
yeah,
it's going to become obsolete unless you're a fan of Roger Stern. You keep that omnibus, but it will not have the Spectacular Spider. I mean, that's what's going to happen with Spectacular Spider-Man Omnibus Volume 2 anyway. It's a major double dip.
Yeah.
Because he wrote those issues before coming on Amazing. Really quick, I'm going to get the super chat. Ultimate Fantastic Four, Omni needs Ultimate X-Men, Ultimate Fantastic Four 1 and 2. Is that's the 2-issue miniseries, right? That's like Ultimate X-Men, Ultimate FF, Ultimate FF, Ultimate X-Men. Wouldn't that be in the second one?
So Adam and I are subsequently have gotten into this a little bit in the chat. It is mapped in the second half of the deluxes, and Marvel tends to be pretty dogmatic about following their deluxe maps on these newer series. But to Adam's point, it actually goes with issue, I think it's 20. Yeah, 19 and 20. So like as a reading experience, it actually would be a good reading experience in the first one. Do I think they would move it out of the second one? No, because the deluxe is already mapped that way.
Well, I can try to ask. It's only 2 issues. Like I have pissed off their collected editions department in the past, but well, I mean, you got to choose your battles, right? It's like I can't ask for everything.
No.
And if they're gonna get mad at me about something, I try to ask for what people want the
make
most.
Make it worth your time.
Omar in the panel. I went to Wicked Comic Con. Thank you, Lion.
Wicked.
In Boston for the second day. I met Rick Leonardi for my birthday.
So cool.
Yeah. I love his artwork, man.
Yeah.
So this is Spidey on Atkins. It's gonna double deep with Stern one way or another. Just rip the Band-Aid off and make this one bigger. Okay, Cody. You got to think about it like it's a business, right? They know people are gonna buy it. They're not gonna like add more issues because people want it. Like they know people are gonna buy it regardless. If they add more issues, they're going to add $25 more. Or what they can do is make the next one give you some of Stern, but not all of Stern. So yeah. I don't think they're going to make this one. What
is the retail price on this? Do we know?
$100.
It's $100. Well, okay.
Well, no, but it's just a case of I think this is stuck where it is. Like it's going to.
By the way, this was number 3 on the poll this year.
Okay.
How did we map it?
We assumed it would go through 212, and we even said on the poll, this Amazing Spider-Man line usually obeys the 3 Masterworks to 1 omnibus rule.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, James. He was adding what is collected in there. Thank you for that.
Okay.
Volume 7 just has to line up with the end of the Stern Omnibus right now. To do that, it's 3.5 Marvel Masterworks. It doesn't. Well, because remember when they were mapping Roger Stern, they weren't thinking like one day we're going to get a volume 6 and 7. I'll be honest with you. What really changed everything, despite of how you feel about this title, was Conan the Barbarian. When Conan the Barbarian volumes 4 and 5 came out and sold well, that really changed a lot of things. And then of course there was an interest like in Omnis. Like they were selling better and better.
Isn't it interesting that I do feel like modern day writers are slightly counting the issues? They're like, how many do I need to write until I'll have a full, they can put out a full omnibus? And of course, that was not remotely on these gentlemen's minds.
Let me see. I personally think they should get rid of those what if issues and add 206 to 212 and annual 14. Volume 7 should go from 213 to 251 and annuals 15 through 17. 251, the ending of a masterwork. Because that's usually what they follow. And 2.5
not anymore.
Well, I was going to say, and 2.5 masterworks, just, I don't know. This is a Corey book, isn't it?
Yes.
Corey Sedemeyer. Doesn't he usually work on Amazing Spider-Man? Wonder what it is. Okay. Well, I will ask for what the majority wants. If you guys want me to ask for... Conan didn't die. He's still alive. He has a late night show, I think. If you guys want me to ask,
but he needs a friend
to the end of the Masterworks, that might be easier. I don't know. I know they're not going to add 205, taking us to 223, right? I know they're not going to take it to 223. There's no way they do that. But maybe to 212. And annual 4, that's a lot of pages though. That would increase the price a lot, and that's more work. I don't know. As for Amazing Spider-Man 206, but that's already in the Roger Stern Omnibus. I think people want them to go past that to map it right next or equally to that Marvel Masterworks, which would take you to 212. Just get it to 212. Yeah, 212 is fine. I don't care if it costs more. I just don't want to buy a tiny omnibus.
I tend to think this was done with a lot of intent. It's such a weird decision. That's
well,
so
I will tell you what. If it was done with intent, they will let me know.
Well, yeah, and maybe when
they will let me know we know what we're doing.
Maybe when Volume 7 comes out, they'll the intent will be revealed. You're right. It feels deliberate. Let's assume they're not just scratching numbers on chicken bones, throwing them in a vat of blood, and seeing what floats to the surface as to where the cutoff is.
No, they're not doing that. Here's the thing. Here's what they're going to do.
Not in public.
They're going to reprint the Roger Stern Omnibus, but add the Hobgoblin Lives 3-issue miniseries to it, just to piss everybody off. Because you're like, I don't need it anymore. I got Amazing Spider-Man Volumes 7 and 8. Oh, crap. They're adding the Hobgoblin Lives story that wraps up his storyline. Son of a bitch. All right. I'm going to ask to 212 since it seems like that's what most people are happy with. Wait, what about... Where's Annual 14 collected, Peter? Is that in the next masterwork?
Annual 14 is in the masterwork that this should have finished with. This should have, as far as we knew, this should have gone to issue 212 and Annual 14.
Oh my gosh! So I got to ask for 7 more issues plus a 64-page annual.
I was being asked in the chat, when do I think this shift over happened of writers sort of writing for the omnibus, as it were, certainly keeping track of when they generate an omnibus. I think it's a fairly recent phenomenon because I think in recent years, it's only recently it can be assumed from these writers that their work will be collected in an omnibus, that the omnibus machine is hot enough that they can sort of think in those terms. That probably hasn't happened before, like 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, Kelly Thompson, I think, was pretty delighted and surprised when her Captain Marvel got tapped for omnibus. So it's not like she was thinking, 50 issues, perfect omnibus size. And that was 2 omnibuses, but Ewing did 50 issues in Immortal Hulk, and it was 1 omnibus. So the lines are still a little blurry.
I expect that Amazing Spider-Man is one that we would stop and talk about for a little bit. Here's Nelson's mapping, 181 to 212, 13 to 14.
Sure.
So you're including What If in there? Oof.
That's a good map.
Yeah,
it's the Masterworks with a little pinch of extra.
Okay. Ask if we could get some All-Star Squadron. Yes. I can so do that. Also, don't forget to ask about Amazing Spider-Man Omnibus Volume 7.
The Golden Age Spider-Man. Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna move
Has anybody done that, Lars? Has anybody gone back and done like a retcon in one of those like Greatest Generation miniseries?
I can't immediately think of one. Can anybody? I mean, it's probably out there somewhere, but I can't immediately think of it.
I don't know. Okay. Well, if I'm asking to add those issues plus the annual, then that would map up next to right up to Nelson's. So I will see what they say. If they tell me to F off, then I'll take that as a no. Okay, Avengers Forever by Jason Aaron. This is collecting the tail end of Jason Aaron's run, which is the event known as Avengers Forever. So this is an event omnibus. When we get a Jason Aaron omnibus, will this be collected in there?
I think it would stop before this because this is a lot of issues and they're all by Aaron.
Well, 63 to 66 is the ending of his Avengers run.
But the very end of that is a direct crossover with the last 3 issues of Avengers Forever. Like it's a direct
So you put those 3 issues of Avengers Forever and call it a day, right?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, we don't even have any Aaron omnibuses. All we have is Heroes Reborn. So.
Well, no, we have the reason they're doing this is because you have the they assume
the OHCs.
I don't know, the OHCs, right? Yeah. This maps perfectly with the oversized hardcovers. You have those oversized hardcovers. this is the next one to get.
Yeah.
Whoop,
And
whoop.
that's it. And you keep
Nice.
your oversized hardcovers, or you can buy the Omnibus, just like Jess will. When I announced the Omnibus, Jason Aaron's
Don't you dare.
Omnibus volume
Don't
1.
you dare.
He's like, I haven't even opened it yet.
That's also true.
This
Because they did that with Heroes Reborn. They've done that with Heroes Reborn too. They did that whole event.
Yeah. This does feel slightly cart before horse, just because, I mean, the people who want it, great, God bless you, you can get it. But because there's no Jason Aaron out prior to this in omnibus form, I don't know.
Well, no, they want to appease the people that have been buying the oversized hardcovers and that are like, are they going to finish this out in oversized?
Yeah,
hardcovers?
I get. Okay, that's a fair point. That's
in a way, they are when you have this omnibus, right?
No, yeah, sure. No,
And not for nothing, Marvel's promotional brain sometimes works in very strange ways. This is an Avengers book that's very focused on the multiverse and ultimate versions of, or alternate versions of Avengers.
Yeah.
Does it make sense for this to come out around when they're teasing What If 3 to drop? Like, they, sometimes the Marvel promotional sheen works in mysterious ways.
And it renewed a trademark. Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Personally, after the Mutant Massacre Prelude, Uncanny X-Men 5 debacle, I'd rather just trust their mapping instead of trying to get to that.
well,
that's the thing I don't want to do. Like that. Okay, that really made a lot of people mad when I came in there and were like, it's one thing.
You did the right thing. You were justified.
Well, I thought I was doing the right thing, and I look, dude, I was in IT for 20 years. IT people are territorial as hell. You're working on a project, you leave that MFer alone. That's his baby. I believe collected editions editors are the same way. I went in there as a nobody and was like, actually, could you add these issues? No, we're not doing that. And then I came back after I did that video with you, Peter, and I'm like, can you please add these issues? Yeah. They were like, I effing guess we're gonna add those issues, and just
I got the book I wanted. I don't know.
I speak for the people. Doctor Strange, Master of the Mystic Arts, Volume 1. Hell yes, otherwise known as Doctor Strange Volume 3. If you're collecting the classic era of Doctor Strange, a much, much, much sought after book. One that is not attached to a movie. Which is wonderful. There's no Doctor Strange movie. It is just another Doctor Strange. So this is awesome. I'm very happy for this. This is the Steve Englehart era. This will lead into the Roger Stern and Chris Claremont era with, I guess, the next volume, Volume 2, which will have my all-time favorite Doctor Strange story and Doctor Doom story, Triumph Torment.
There's moments where I go,
yeah, Daredevil 162. Is that real? I don't know if I can trust the report or not. Is that real? What's Daredevil 162? I can't. Peter.
I don't know.
No, isn't Daredevil 162 your fabled fill-in issue by Steve Ditko that they refused to insert?
Oh, that's right. I try to get that. The
one that you've been kvetching about for months and months.
I did. I tried to get them to add that to the new printing, and they were like,
and I said,
no, this is going to be a straight up reprint.
That's ridiculous.
That is well played, Cody.
By the way, the first couple of Doctor Strange omnibuses very weirdly were like barely even 2 masterworks each. This is more or less 3 masterworks. It's not exact, but it's the core Strange issues are 3 masterworks worth of issues. And also, this is a fine place to pick it up. I know if you're looking at Marvel Premiere 3 and you're like, where's 1 and 2? No, Doctor Strange joined Marvel Premiere in issue 3 and it became his title. So this is a perfectly fine place to pick up Doctor Strange after his initial series ended. So you don't need the prior 2. They're great, but you can just buy this. That's why it's in volume 1.
Yeah.
Hear me out. Fight the cover. When they turn you down, ask for issues. If you're new, I know Josh is just joking. If you're new here, I will no longer ask for cover changes. There was a whole drama with Thor by Jason Aaron, Volume 1. Yeah. When I announced the covers and the omnibus, people were upset. That's not even Russell Dodderman. That's not Azad Ribbage. So I went to Marvel. Can we change the covers? And they're like, who is it? And I'm like, well, they want the artist on the books. That makes sense. Azad Ribbage.
Wait, who is it? It's Omar,
and Russell Dodderman. So they changed them. And then when I announced the covers, people were like, those aren't the ones we want. And I went back to Marvel and I said, those aren't the ones they wanted. They want better covers than the choices you've made. And at that point, I knew I pissed them off. And at that point, I decided it's time to choose my battles. I'm going to choose. Maybe they can add issues to Omnis. I don't give a crap about covers. I'm sorry if you do. We're stuck with the covers, and that's the story. That's why I no longer ask for cover changes, because no matter what, people are going to bitch. And when people bitch, you can't please everybody.
No, absolutely not.
And it's impossible to do that. So yeah,
I
was not going to go back the second time. But what happened was I saw a post, and I think that was right around the time when I left that omnibus group that Jess took a break from too. That I was like, "What? You're complaining about the cover choices that you wanted?" and then they tagged me, and I was like, "Okay, I guess people want me to do it." So here we go, man. I asked, and I could tell.
I could sort of see them going back to them and just saying they just want different covers from the ones you picked. Would come across as everything you're doing is shite. Please.
Yeah, when you're a designer and the note you get is just like that but different, that's
from a guy that doesn't even have the job in the same, like, you're a designer.
Exactly.
Who is this uncanny a-hole? All right, next. Star Wars Legends Old Republic coming back to print.
Okay.
This is a volume 1. I hope we get a volume 2 after this reprint. Oh man, this was probably one of my favorite reads when it came out in I think it was 2019 or 2020. Never read it before. I went into it completely blind, not knowing anything about this, and I was blown away. I had as much fun reading the Tales of the Jedi recently. That was excellent. And Tales of the Jedi takes place like, this is like 6,000, I can't remember now, 2,000 years before the Skywalker saga. Tales of the Jedi is like 20,000 or so years before this. I was like, oh, blown away by this, man. It was so good.
Yeah.
I can't please everybody. No, I learned I learned to pick my battles. So that's what I did then.
Yeah.
All right. Next up is the official handbook of the Marvel Universe Master Edition, Volume 2, wrapping up this series and collecting the handbook of the Marvel Universe Master Edition 1 through 36. Funny story, or a little behind the scenes, if you ever care about that stuff. When I announced Volume 1, David asked me, he was like, "Do you think people would pay more if we did a landscape omnibus?" And I said, I don't know. Not when it comes to a handbook. I was, because I really don't know.
Yeah.
He's like, these were printed. I don't know if y'all knew this or not. These were originally printed as like cardboard, like trading cards with like, you could put them in binders.
Yeah, you got an official binder that they gave you insert pages for.
Here's exactly what before. So I said, I don't know, right? And he's like, never mind. They were pissed off about the price of Planet of the Apes. I'm like, never mind. We're just gonna stick with the regular.
Yeah. if that causes a price increase, that could be a hard sell.
Well, right. Planet of the Apes, because of all that restoration, had to be sold for $100.
Oh.
So I think this one is still $125, $100, but this wraps up the entirety. So this goes M through Z.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite announcements. I don't know if I can't remember if I beat the catalog or not, but I don't care. This is still one of my favorite announcements. What was Spider-Man Volume 1? I know people are like, can you get them to change the cover to Web of Spider-Man? And I'm going to tell you why I can't. Well, first of all, I don't do cover changes anymore. But the cover that people wanted was the issue number 1, which they are using for this right here, the Spider-Man, the complete black costume saga, Omnibus Volume 1. This one comes out in September, so that's why they're not. Oh my gosh, can you imagine like confusing not just retailers but also people that are buying it with this cover on this book? That's a little too soon and a little too much. So yeah, this is one that we'll have for the first time Kraven the Hunter collected in an omnibus format with the original color. So tell me your stories behind this while I take this phone call that my dad's calling me. So you guys like the story?
I mean, this is, I want to hear from Justin Lars if they remember reading this, but I just have to point out, this is a huge precedent. It's not been epic. It has not been masterworked. It's never been collected comprehensively. So massive deal. And it was number 44, 46 on this year's Omnibus poll.
Yeah.
I will add to your nevers saying I have never read it.
Really?
No, I'm looking forward to it. I really want to read this.
Lars?
Yeah, unfortunately, at the time, there's so many Spider-Man titles, and I was more of a team book sort of guy. So this was one of those that I would dip in and out of intermittently. I certainly read Kraven's Last Hunt when that came out, and some of the
I read that too.
Other high notes, but I've never been able to be a read every Spider-Man issue sort of guy.
My first comic book issue ever was in this book.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
And you never forget your first.
I'm trying to remember exactly what issue it is. I can picture the cover. I'm trying to find it.
Oh, apparently you can forget your first. I stand.
I know what the cover. I actually might have it on the shelf right here, but we're already down one person. I don't want to go lunging off screen.
I'm right here.
Okay. You good?
Yeah, I'm good. So I remember my first Web of Spider-Man, and it was part of that Kraven's Last Hunt. Yeah. And I remember that I went back and bought it because I would see the cover at the comic book store, and it was the cover to issue number 1. I was just like, wow, that is gorgeous. And I knew it wasn't Venom. So far, to kind of recap, X-Men Fatal Attractions was voted number 4, being reprinted. And was it Star Wars The Old Republic that we went through? That was number 14, and it's being reprinted. So far, 2 of those books that are being reprinted are the ones that you all voted for. And for the record, this year was the first time I sent David the top 25, not the top 20.
My first issue, by the way, was number 25, Web of Spider-Man 25.
I love that. This is just us about everything. The only thing they may add is Spectacular 115 and Amazing 279 for the Missing in Action crossover.
Ooh, good call.
Yeah, that Aaron is my Spidey mapping guy. Guy's awesome. The web annuals are worth the price. Oh, Arthur Adams does is it the second one, right? Web of Spider-Man annual number 2. I know Peter would know. He's a walking Arthur Adams encyclopedia.
Slowly I turn.
Step by step.
There is no Web of Spider-Man Marvel Masterworks. This actually beats out the classics with. So David was in the chat, I think 3 years ago, and I remember it was Curtis and I. No, it was the Saturday stream. That's what happened. It was the Saturday live stream. I was doing it by myself because I was out of town, and then Melanie was joining me, and David was in the chat. People were asking, of course, how's it going, Mr. Gabriel? Could you please print this? And somebody asked about Spectacular Spider-Man. It might have been my buddy News Pooey channel, Web of Spider-Man and Spectacular Spider-Man, and he was like, those are in the works. We're gonna get to those. What's funny is that somebody in the Epic Marvel Podcast Facebook group clipped that and showed it to the Epic group, and they immediately thought, they're working on Spectacular Spider-Man and Web of Spider-Man epics. This is amazing. Hallelujah. And I hated to be that guy that was like, but that's not what was asked. They were asking about Omnis. So
yeah. There was also, when it came out, a sense that, like, with Spider-Man and Batman in particular, there was a sense of, like, how many titles can we wring out of this justifiably? So they were perhaps adding a bit much, but there's some great stuff in here.
What's really interesting about this is that this is actually the 4th ongoing Spider-Man title.
Yeah.
The 3rd
Team Up.
It has been Team Up. Team Up has never been collected in omnibus format.
Yeah.
And that's one that people like, the old guard was like, wait a second. Where's Marvel Team Up? We still don't have that. And that the reason that got canceled is that they can make room for Web of Spider-Man.
I will say that Web of Spider-Man, to me, Lars makes a good point. It was Spider-Man title number 4. I mean, we talk about the X-Men spiraling out of control, but this was even more than Batman had in 1985. But I think Web always had a purity of purpose. Like, I don't know it encyclopedically like I do my X-Men, but I've read it. And the storyline was really streamlined and focused on a very specific thing that started with Black Suit and kind of focused a lot on Spider-Man and Peter Parker's misery. It was really like a lot of bad things happened to him in this book. And I find it to this day very, very readable. He goes through a lot of terrible stuff in the teens of these issues. And by the way, 17 was my first issue, not 25. I was confused because Omar kept saying the number 25 for some other reason. Spider-Man versus Magma, but not New Mutants Magma, just a random dude in pink and purple with spikes on him. He's like so over the top. He looks like a Mega Man villain. And I think that's why I like pink on comic book covers. My first cover was this giant pink guy covered in spikes. That's how kinks are born.
Yeah, I just at the time.
No, go ahead, Lars. Follow that up.
I was. I'll try. No, I can't. I was at the time. I was because if there was a book I was following, it was Amazing Spider-Man, and I was following the Hobgoblin saga pretty closely and that sort of thing. And then, as you say, Spectacular Spider-Man, and then here's another Spider-Man title, and it just gets a hard because I'm more of an X-Men guy. You know, there's certain properties that I will follow every title. I wasn't the Spider-Man guy particularly, and it's a lot of balls to juggle, but good stuff. Good stuff.
All right. Omar, ask Marvel to reprint Howard the Duck. Well, no. You all ask Marvel because that's why there's a reprint poll. But I will say that is David Gabriel's favorite, one of his favorite comics is Howard the Duck. He loves Howard the Duck. I'm surprised they never did collect the Max issues. Is that what you're talking about? The missing issues? The Max
No,
issues?
it skips something. I can't lay my brain on it right now. I have to go look at my Howard guide, but the omnibus is not mapped the way the Masterworks and the completes are mapped.
Well, there's only one Masterwork so far, right?
Right. Maybe it's the completes, but the omnibus doesn't. There is something that the omnibus could have had that it doesn't. I think it's non-Gerber material. Maybe I'd have to go and I'm going in my guide right now. But while I'm looking at that, Omar, several people in the chat have mentioned that it would be cool if this included Spider-Man versus Wolverine because it's followed up upon Web. Why don't you tell them your thoughts on that while I go chase down this Howard the Duck answer?
Yeah, somebody had. This is why I do this particular stream because somebody had emailed me and I knew I was going to forget. So, yeah, because isn't the Aftermath in one of these issues like the follow up to it? Is it Web of Spider-Man 20? Or no? Wait. Or is it a Spectacular Spider-Man? Aaron, are you still watching? What's that?
That is what the chat is saying.
That what is the chat saying?
That it's followed up on in Web.
Okay. I thought it was like Web of Spider-Man 29 or
something.
Yeah,
if you include Wolverine versus Spider-Man, you kind of have to include 289 as well, I would think. But
no, yeah, okay. So it is Web of Spider-Man 29, and that's the follow-up to the actually that's not a bad idea. I know it's in the Wolverine Omnibus, but not everybody that collects Spidey collects Wolvie. Okay, Web of Spidey, let me add that. That's a great idea. Thank you for bringing that up. And somebody was asking about double dipping. The Black Costume Saga collects Web of Spider-Man 1, which is collected in here. I think that's about the only double dip you're going to have, though, if I'm not mistaken. Let me look really quick. 131 and 133, 252. Yeah, that's it. Spider-Man versus... Man. What I needed was Melanie to be sitting next to me and just writing things down. Just be bored out of her mind. Like... write this down, please. All right, let's keep going. We're going to go
on Howard the Duck. I think the reason there's a perception that there's missing issues is because the Howard the Duck Omnibus collects all of the original Howard the Duck series through issue 33, but issues 32 and 33 actually were published later. And in between 31 and 32, a whole bunch of other stuff happened, including all of Howard the Duck magazine. So from a purely sequential standpoint, there's this feeling that, well, there's Howard stories that are not in Omnibus Volume 1. What Omnibus Volume 1 really is just the complete collection of Howard the Duck 1976 with issues that attach to that, like Man-Thing, without all the kind of issues that flow in between. That's probably a good reason for Marvel not to reprint it and instead to do a expanded Howard the Duck Omnibus because it's missing all sorts of stuff that's in the complete collections.
I know it was missing the Max stuff. When he got turned,
we're talking about contemporaneous stuff, though.
I'm talking about the Max stuff.
Yeah, Max stuff. Well, that's why we could have 2 volumes because there's plenty of.
You're right. And well, we can talk about Man-Thing later. Okay,
Lars is talking about Man-Thing right now. Just asking.
Well, we brought up Steve Gerber. Cosmic X-Men Omnibus. So we talked about this one on the live stream. But Peter and I haven't had a chance to talk about this one. And we both have thoughts.
Oh, God.
As to why it's happening and the interesting mapping in here. And I will say, whenever you look at comments and stuff, people are like, I can't believe they're wasting dead trees on this or whatever. I see that all the time, by the way, no matter what book it is, just fill in the blank. Sure. This one, they get a lot of that. But there were some people that were like, oh, this is perfect. I don't like X-Men. I'm just curious about the cosmic side.
But it is always the question you want asked here is like, why the hell are they doing this?
Why the hell they do a Phoenix Omnibus?
Well, no, sure, of course.
Oh, don't you dare! The three of you can't say a damn thing about the Phoenix Omnibus. Oh, I can't wait to do a Cosmic Evergreen, baby. All right.
So,
Okay.
why are they doing this?
I really thought, okay, maybe there's an event that's taking the X-Men into space. But it's weird not to have like Sword collected in here. And of all things, Marauders, the 2022 era is collected in here. You know,
That's wild to me.
The way
I get why, but it's still wild.
The way I would like kind of like to get me excited over this was maybe this is the only place you're ever going to find Gambit and Rogue and Mr. and Mrs. X. Because a lot of that does take place in space. And it's their like mighty misadventures and introducing new Shi'ar characters. That's it. Go ahead, Peter. Thoughts?
I mean, for me here, so look, it does make an amount of sense. Like there are, to a point, it's got all of the really good space stories, and I can support that. But then Marauders, I get it because it happens with Shi'ar and stuff, but it's so divided from the other content, and it's so bad that I'm like, the way that I wish this had gone, and the ship has already sailed, is I wish it had just been X-Men and the Starjammers, and we got other Starjammers material in there. Like, even if it's going to double dip other things, it would have been fun to have a book that has like all of the big Starjammer stories and Corsair, the various Starjammers miniseries, anywhere that they've kind of popped up significantly up until the Cosmic Saga and like War of Kings and stuff. That to me would have been more delightful. I don't really. So much of this is like Shi'ar space, and then to pivot right from all that stuff into Astonishing X-Men 19 through 24, which is the Ord stuff, just is like such a weird, jarring choice to me. And then everything else after that is back to Shi'ar. So it feels like a strange mix of cosmic stories. It's, if you like Cosmic X-Men, maybe that's going to be the focus of X-Men 97 season 2. Maybe we're going to get an event next year. Maybe it's to tie in with what's happening in the Phoenix comic book. Marvel will put out an omnibus to support one issue of one series. We've seen this happen in the past. Personally, I wish it was a Starjammers omnibus.
Okay, Amadeus, before you lose your shit, I don't work for Marvel. I just want to, and for anybody that's new here that thinks I work for Marvel Comics, I don't. I just suggest things. I get to announce things, and sometimes the damn website beats me to it. So I'm just the guy, man, in my basement. I can suggest additions. Marvel has their own plans to release things. I'm sure X-23 Volume 2 will come. How can one expect to collect the entirety of Mr. and Mrs. X? Trade paperbacks that are long out of print, unfortunately.
They are
collected. I think one or two of them are out of print.
Oh,
am I the only one who thinks they are pumping out too many Omnis too quickly? Yes, I'll answer that question now. Who can afford to keep up with these releases with all the titles you would like to read? Well, because they figured out. This is something that I've talked about, I think, 4 years ago. Because I had this very question, and I'll just leave this up for right now. This question does come up from time to time, like, are they putting out too much? Yes, if you buy every goddamn title, they are putting out too much. But they have realized that not everybody collects all the X-Men. Not everybody collects all Spider-Man. Not everybody collects all the Avengers. Sometimes it's just people that collect Captain America. So they're putting out books to please everybody. Even if you look at the comments, like you'll see comments on when I make announcement videos, like, does Marvel know they make more than just X-Men comics? They know that they have all these other characters. Everybody wants something different. And you have obscure people like Lars that want Cosmic X-Men. So everybody wants
because I'm from Norway and we're weird.
Don't you dare put racist words in my mouth.
No,
I will do that.
But I think the bigger point is that they just, they rationally assume nobody's buying everything, even if you are buying everything.
Don't say that, because remember when we did our panel in Chicago?
No, there was the Epic guy. No, yes, true, there was the Epic guy. Although we didn't then query him, are you buying other stuff as well? Like maybe Epic's is like the only thing he buys, which is possible. I don't know.
I buy every Epic.
Do you? Okay,
not Star Wars.
No.
Oh, then you can't say I buy every.
Oh, then I'm not that guy. Was that guy Curtis?
No, Curtis. But in terms of omnibuses, like even if you are buying every Avengers omnibus release, you're probably not buying every Doctor Strange release or whatever it is. I mean, they just assume that nobody's buying everything. But then overall, and for me, I'm a weird non-completist. I only buy what I need. what I need.
Do you ever skip
I
volumes? And this is an honest question. Do you ever go, I like volume 1. I hated the stories in volume 2, so I'm going to buy a volume 3.
All the time.
So you like you if I look at your shelf,
yeah,
there's volume 1, volume 3, and maybe a volume 4 or something.
I mean, depending on how you define terms, but yeah, like my X-Men collection is extremely Swiss cheesed.
Oh, can I come over and shame you?
Yeah, and you know my Omnibus is just 1 and 3 after you baited me into buying 2, and then I immediately made fun of me and said, "What are you doing buying that? You should be selling that." And I had to turn right around and sell it because you said it was a crappy book. And I said, "What are you doing here?"
I can't believe you kept the crappier Daniel Way Venom story, which is in 3.
I can't immediately think of an instance where I'm sure there must be one.
Well,
where I literally bought 1 and 3, but not 2. But if there were a scenario like that, if like I really loved 1 and 3 and I hated 2, I wouldn't buy 2. Because I'm going to spend money and space on what I need, not what I kind of want.
So maybe Lars brought up a good point. Maybe there are people like you out there that are like, well, I like only X-Men stories in space.
Sure,
This is the one.
I suppose
This is the one. That's it.
Honestly, I'm not against that idea. I just think the map sucks.
Well, I don't know where that idea would. I mean, because it would take work to map this. Like, okay, we're gonna put this
work. I wonder if we know anybody who works to map things.
Well, you know what I'm saying.
Brandon on the line.
There are some thoughts that go into this. Like, what makes them take out? Well, first of all, like the Dark Phoenix, like it is the Dark Phoenix ending, right? It's not the Dark Phoenix saga.
Well,
but you have the entirety of the rise and fall of the Shi'ar Empire in here. So why is that important? But why not the entirety of because it's collected in the Phoenix Omnibus? Crap. Forget about that. I'm moving on. Does anybody want me to add anything to this?
Starjammers, Imperial Guard,
Olive Rogan Gambit.
I'm out of here, man. Punisher by Rick Remender, new printing. Okay. All right. Let's get to some good stuff. Punisher by Rick Remender was voted as number 5 on our reprint poll in 2024. So good on you all for voting. This is the omnibus, and I remember in my comments like, "Oh, Marvel's canceled Punisher. They want to get away from that character, the symbol." But I knew that the Punisher reprints were coming, so I just kept quiet and I let people just complain and act like they know what they're talking about because the internet. So I do find it interesting that we're getting reprints of Punisher because people are voting for it, but not new things. So I wonder if that's like, well, maybe nothing new yet. But we can give them reprints because I would love, like for me, and I know it would take some work. My favorite era of Punisher is still the one I grew up with, like Punisher War Journal and Punisher by Carl Potts with, Jim Lee, Will Spertasio, text on artwork. I would love that stuff collected. I'd love to see the Greg Rucka stuff collected in Omnibus.
Oh, yeah.
It's not very long, but they don't shy away from like thin Omnis either.
No, the Rucka stuff is really great. Size. Yeah.
So this makes me happy. It's got all of the story, Frankie Castle, which is just so stupid, but I love it. I think it's great. So there's certain characters that Marvel and DC, for some bewildering reason, leaves lying about the place. Can't really seem to commit to doing new stuff on them, and then suddenly remember, oh hey, we could reprint some stuff. And you're right, there has been a lot of Punisher reprints of late, and yet like the Jason Aaron new run, which was quite revolutionary and quite the paradigm shift, that's not out in hardcover, which I find a bit strange. But yeah, it's as if they're like, oh, we could just send these files back to the printer. You like Fear Agent Black Science? Is this worth getting?
Maybe.
I don't know if it's like those two though. You don't have a you don't have a raging alcoholic that has a redemption arc to go through. It's more like
here, dude.
Not you. I'm talking about Frank Castle.
Okay.
It's good, but it's different than those books. The content listed here for the Remender Punisher is incorrect.
That is.
Oh, yeah, Barracuda wasn't written by him. That was
that's Garth Ennis.
That's Garth Ennis. Yeah.
Hold on, I'll put
Actually,
and Punisher the End is also Garth Ennis.
Thank you.
Unless there was two of them. Oh, and the Cell. Wait, Barracuda, Tiger, the Cell, the End. All of that is Garth Ennis.
Thank you. Anything else, Captain Obvious? All right. Mike Barron did 48 issues of The Punisher and a graphic novel perfect for an omnibus. And some of that has been collected in it. So it is Punisher 1 through 16, annual number 1. Thank you, Peter. Dark Reign, The List, Frankencastle 17 through 21, Dark Wolverine 88 through 89, and Punisher in the Blood, miniseries 1 through 5. It's a straight up reprint of what's been collected before. And I agree, Bruce. And I think some of it has been collected in Epics, but I want an omnibus of that stuff.
Oh yeah.
Go ahead, Peter.
Wait, can you back up? Wait a minute. Punisher 2004 isn't that?
It's the wrong content, Lars.
Are you even paying attention?
I'm trying to pay attention.
Stop reading and look at my lips. Stop reading. All right. Wolverine Gambit Victim Gallery. Thank you, Don, for making me laugh.
Oh my gosh.
Collecting Wolverine Gambit Victims 1 through 4 and the material from Uncanny X-Men annual number 18. So this is, if you're collecting the Jeff Loeb color with Tim Selwyn artwork, this is it. This is the 5th book. Sadly, they did not even get started on Iron Man Gold. But this was their very first thing they did at Marvel Comics.
Yeah.
Gambit did nothing wrong no more. Are you talking about the trial Gambit? Because I will end you. All right. Next, May 1965. For the people that keep asking who is buying any of these, I guess enough people to keep printing them, because we have a 61, 62, 63, 64, and next year will be a 65. By the way, I'm a big fan of Javier Rodriguez's covers, though.
Now, who's the anchor character of this? Usually they pick a month because it's the debut of a character. Is it Nick Fury in this one?
It's S.H.I.E.L.D. It's the anniversary of S.H.I.E.L.D., yeah. So that's actually the reason why this is here, but then there he is right there, too. Eventually,
Millie the Model Bus.
Yeah, we're gonna run out of Kid Colt. We're gonna run out of Rawhide Kid, because those series are about to wrap up.
Just seeing one Millie the Model comic in an omnibus is exciting to me. I was ready to vote for a 4 omnibus Millie the Model set. Maybe they should kickstart it.
I would buy that.
I would buy the hell out of that.
Oh my god! Yeah. It's crazy because this is the only place those have been restored. There is no masterwork. There's no collection where any of that stuff has been collected. Some of the old Western stuff has been collected, but none of this stuff has ever been collected anywhere. What's 1960? Who appeared in 1966? That's the thing. It's like they're writing on a character or a group that appeared, like made their first appearance in these years. I think by 66, did anybody with an ongoing series show up? Lars. You remember?
I don't remember. I wasn't alive then.
You were collecting cans to buy comics.
I think 1966. Did Black Panther debut in 1966?
Good.
And also Smurfette.
Hey, now you're talking about my first crush. Step back, buddy. Okay. I'm territorial about my IT, my mapping, and my Smurfette. Eric, how are you, my friend? I hope you're doing well. And Eric, and actually, I do have viewers that enjoy these books, like that were genuinely excited about this.
I would be curious to talk to people who are legit buying them and then reading them cover to cover, that they really do it, rather than just enjoying the idea of them and buying them and putting them on the shelf.
Dude, I'm waiting for my 1978, baby. Give me that March 1978. Oh, that would be awesome. I'm learning about the panel on this.
Yes, I know. But I need to pay attention to what people say. And
wow, Lars. No, look.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
No prize for Lars. Black Panther's 1966.
Nailed it. Yeah.
Now give me the month. Oh, Silver Surfer.
I cannot give you the month. There's no way. And
fake nerd. Yeah. Fake nerd. Thank you for that.
And Smurfette.
Hey, step off. All right, next up, Secret War by Bendis. So this collects Secret War. This is a straight up reprint of the oversized hardcover with the addition of the Pulse stories, which is the Aftermath. Somebody was asking, maybe they should just add the Pulse to all. Pulse went 15. Is it 15 issues? 15. Is that all the Pulse went?
Yeah, it's 15. Yeah. And it was good. I really enjoyed the Pulse.
I'll tell you, first that was me, but I'll tell you why they're not going to do it, because the Pulse will be collected in full whenever they do Jessica Jones by Brian Bendis Omnibus as a sequel to the Alias Omnibus that will have the Pulse, a couple of selected issues of Jessica Jones from his New Avengers run, and then his 2016 Jessica Jones book.
As they should. Yeah.
I think it should be here personally, but that's just me.
This one might have been my fault because I want. Hold on. Let me finish the story.
Did you ask for the wrong book?
My dumbass, before I went and announced New Avengers, I said, hey, wouldn't it be cool to add Secret Wars to this printing of New Avengers because it fits in perfectly? To me, it's been the setup. And they came back to me and said, no, not in the reprint because we're doing a straight up reprint, but it does give us an idea for another book. I kind of got scared that the other book was going to be a Secret War collection where it collected Secret War, Marvel Superhero Secret Wars, Secret Wars 2, and the 2015 Secret Wars with this. And I was like, oh my God, I think I just created a monster. This at least is a little bit better than that collection because then that is a double dip for a lot of different stories. So, yeah. So anyway, Secret War, Annihilation.
Okay.
This makes me feel old because this was the very first omnibus I got to announce as a reprint.
Oh, is that right?
Mm-hmm. This and David, not Peter David. Yeah, Peter David's Hulk, not a reprint but a new book, and then Annihilation. This and Daredevil by Bendis. Because I remember David is like, "Hey, do you want to announce those?" And I was still on the fence, like, this guy might not be real. If I announce these,
I remember that.
Like, you remember, I was so scared. I'm like, what do I do? I remember having lunch with Maddie, and she's like, "Follow your gut." And I'm like, I think he's real. Why would anybody mess with me? That's just messed up. Should I make an announcement? I wasn't wearing a suit at that time either. I think it was t-shirt on, maybe a hoodie. Like I was like, oh, this is coming. And dude, do you remember, Jess? Like the next day, like.
When you called me,
the Marvel Masterworks board just blew up. Like, who the hell does this YouTube kid think?
YouTube kid.
That was like, kid, I'm in my 40s, man. Well, I guess I am a YouTube kid to those guys in the Marvel Masterworks board.
Yeah.
You weren't even old enough.
You weren't even old enough to shave, and now you got the suit and the tie and the goatee, and you're set.
It's crazy that now I got to announce it again, a reprint.
Right.
This is fantastic. I said it actually in our stream, one of the past two streams this weekend. It all blurs together, but this is so good. It's really good reading experience. It draws together all the threads of Marvel Cosmic, which had been disparate for several years at this point. In 2006, I've recently reread it and it holds up really well. It's a lot of fun. It's one of the best all-in-one Marvel event omnibuses you can buy, in my opinion.
Yeah. I believe Halo Tango might be speaking after my heart here. I believe they let Bendis write so many comics. There are some people on the panel, and I'm not going to say any names, that absolutely love Bendis, though. Not saying any names. And yes, contrary to popular belief, this is more of a Keith Giffen thing than a DNA thing.
Yeah, DNA came really after this.
Smurfette, yes. Leave her alone. Back off, buddy. Omar, can you ask Marvel to add Cosmic X-Men? Oh my God, that's gonna be the next evergreen.
I'm the Bendis lover right here. I admit it.
They could have called Cosmic X-Men Prelude to Annihilation. That might have worked.
Prelude to War of Kings.
Prelude to War of Kings. Yeah.
All right, Wolverine by Jason Aaron coming back to print. This was voted as number 17 on our reprint poll. So thank you all for voting. And this time around with a direct market cover by Adam Kubert. So Volume 1 goes to hell, and Wolverine and the X-Men. That is your Wolverine trilogy by Jason
Goes
Aaron.
to Hell one.
Okay, so I've read this. Goes to Hell is Volume 1.
No,
Okay.
this is volume 1.
2.
Volume 2 is Goes to Hell, which I'm surprised they didn't change the title of that.
Yes.
And Wolverine and the X-Men is your volume 3, and that wraps up Jason Aaron's run.
Okay, so this is not Goes to Hell.
No, this is not Goes to Hell. Goes to Hell is volume 2.
Yeah. Okay. Got it. Yeah.
Got it.
So I hope you enjoy it. If you missed out on it,
it's dark, but it's good. Yeah.
And it even has his first issue. I think it was like some kind of contest that he won to write a backup story there. Dark Claws, the better Wolverine. Well, maybe because he's Bruce Wayne and Logan. Omar, how did I just notice your shirt?
Oh my gosh, I've been staring.
Yeah, pretty great.
Thank you, buddy. I hope you're doing well. Yes, this is my very limited edition OmniFans shirt. Limited edition because it got pulled immediately when we put it up for sale. I think only like a handful of people were able to grab it. Because where did we put it? I think we put it on like Spreadshop, right? And yeah, Spreadshop was like, we're pulling this up. Whatever.
Wait, why?
Melanie was like, well, maybe we'll do another print run of it sometime and let everybody know.
Exclusive for patrons, maybe.
So, and for the record, for the people that can't see good, they got to get the readers. It says OmniFans, not OnlyFans. Just for the record, just want to throw that out there. Okay, next up is Silver Surfer.
For those of you who haven't subscribed to Omar's OnlyFans, it is hot.
I do not have an OnlyFans. Silver Surfer Volume 2 is the title that I was given. However, they did change it. And Peter, what is the name of the book?
Why do you think I know? Enters the Spaceways journey, something Spaceways.
Yes.
Spaceways for 1000, Alex.
You came for
Spaceways.
You came we're so professional here. You came so prepared. It is let me look it up really quick. I want to get the name right. I was about to ask Jess, but I knew better.
No.
All right. It is.
I came prepared to trust the information in the slideshow.
Silver Surfer.
I mean, forgot.
Dang it. What the hell is it called? You know what? I don't have it written down. Oh, because they emailed me, hey, can you change that? That was one of the things that happens whenever I make a video. They're like, hey, Omar, can you change that to this after being reviewed? So yeah, I did. So
I have a behind the scenes video question while we're trying to figure out what it's actually called.
Larry says return to the Spaceways.
I said that.
But I trust Larry.
When did you say that?
He's got glasses on and a beard. You gotta trust that guy with the glasses and a beard. All right, go ahead. Talk to me, Peter.
All right. Here's my question. Has you ever shot a video, been really happy with it, and then Marvel makes like a one-word change and you go in and just like sub and dub the change and try to match it to your lips rather than reshoot the video?
What a great idea.
I need to know.
No, I'm usually, since those are sponsored videos, I'm really professional. I'm like, I gotta make it look good. Except for one time. One time. I just said, and people knew when I cut. And I'm not going to say what video it was, but it was disappointment because in the video I'm happy and then they removed content, not because of them. Something else happened behind the scenes. I'm not going to get into what. And I'm like, I'm not going to record this again. I don't have the joy in me anymore. So I cut the part. I cut the parts and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. No. Right. And I cut all that out. And I cut the part where I say, and this. And somebody in the comments went, you seem really happy for a book that like there was a cut. They could tell there was a cut, and I just left it because I don't think I could recapture that again. And just that's the only time I've ever done. Most of the time I do re-record things. Yeah.
This map, by the way, is outstanding.
Oh, this is great.
It
Absolutely.
Is.
Yeah.
I
like it.
Freaking buy this book.
I love this run, but I've been diligently collecting in epics. And I'm like, I already have them. So I don't know. But it's great.
I will say that this broke the curse of Silver Surfer Volume 1 being the longest Volume 1 without a Volume 2.
Right.
It was Wolverine for a while. Wolverine had 10 years in between Volume 1 and 2. But this, I was so happy. So happy to get to announce this. Though David,
I was shocked when you announced it. It was number 40 really in the poll.
A Volume 2. Well, they're not calling it a Volume 2. This is just the placeholder name that I had. I looked I didn't. I looked disappointed announcing Cosmic X-Men. Well, I think here's the thing, a little behind the scenes again. Like, when a company is getting you to announce their books, you can't be like, so I guess somebody asked for this.
Ugh.
Coming out in February is some ultimate book, right? Like, you need a level of professionalism. I think most of my viewers that know me can probably tell when I'm genuinely excited about Doom 2099, Mother of God, which we haven't even talked about yet, or Cosmic X-Men, right? Like, you can tell when I'm genuinely excited, or at least I think most of you all can tell. I was excited when I got to announce this, though. Absolutely made me happy.
Yeah. I'm not even really a Silver Surfer fan, and I think this is wonderful.
Yeah.
There's so many things wrong with you, Pete. All right. Giant size Marvel to celebrate another milestone, which is the giant size X-Men. They're giving us a giant size Marvel Omnibus. Some of this stuff has been collected in Avengers, or has been collected, of course, in X-Men, in Fantastic Four, in Spider-Man, and then some of the stuff has never been collected. Maybe in Masterworks, Peter?
Yeah, I think just about all of
We're
this
looking
has
at
been
all
collected at least
70s
once.
in some Masterworks format, but not in Omnibus format.
Or complete collections for some of the horror stuff.
Yeah. So this is in celebration of X-Men. It's a big anniversary for Giant Size X-Men.
Yeah.
And this is what they're doing. They're putting all the giant size books together.
Which I can sort of see how, well, you'd have to be from back in the day, but like there might be people who read it at the time who really enjoyed the giant sized issues and, you know, thought they were bigger explorations of the characters who might want this. I don't know.
I really like that Gil Kane, Dr. Doom, and Namor covered. I think it's awesome. Yeah. I'm surprised they didn't add giant size X-Men 3 and 4. The ones that were supposed to be drawn by Dave Cockrum, but he got sick, so Neil Adams ended up drawing them.
Yeah. Yeah, good point.
So they'll use giant size X-Men for 2 Omni covers, but not Web of Spider-Man. I think it's because it's been enough time, and that one is currently out of print. That might be it. Fun fact, they omitted giant size Spider-Man 2 and 3 for rights issues, but they are included in Marvel Masterworks Marvel Team Up Volume 3.
Okay.
Thank you for that, Aaron. And Star Wars Crimson Reign. This is the second event in the years between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi era of Star Wars comics. And the first one was War of the Bounty Hunters. This was followed up by Hidden Empire, and then there was the Dark Droids.
Yeah.
I think out of the 3, I enjoyed this one the most. I don't know if y'all have been keeping up with Star Wars, like recent Star Wars or not.
I definitely liked it better than Dark Droids. I'm trying to remember the other 2.
So War of the Bounty Hunters. That's where they stole Han Solo's body. And it's...
The main part of that was good. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I pretty broadly like this. I like this whole sequence, this whole post Empire Strikes Back sequence of Star Wars. I found pretty strong.
Yeah.
Michael Torney, see above. I kind of went over that with Dying Breed Collectors a little bit.
By the way, this actually, to Omar's point, it directly follows War of the Bounty Hunters. Like, issue for issue, it maps up to the end of War of the Bounty Hunters.
And I will say, this is another event Omni that if they ever do a Bounty Hunters Omnibus, a Darth Vader, which we know they'll do, right? Yeah. And at Star Wars Omni, it will double dip heavily with this, War of the Bounty Hunters, and I assume the Dark Droids. To quote Warren, pass. Oh, you guys don't like strong women?
Josh isn't.
No strong women for Josh and Warren. Got it. Marvel Fanfare with that amazing cover by Frank Miller.
Oh, yeah.
People have pointed out, Omar, this is pretty slim. Yeah. I don't know the page count, but these were 36-page comics with no ads. They were prestige format. They're not prestige, but they had like glossy paper stock.
Yeah. I will definitely get this because we forget how much, like, you know, what issues that got relegated to the direct market, how much people like me were screwed. You know, being in Little Story City, Iowa, I don't have a comic book shop. And if you don't put it in the grocery store rack and it's only in comic book stores, then yeah. So I could never really collect this thing very faithfully. Yeah, I'll definitely get this. There's some great creators in here.
Some of it will be a double dip, but it's also an anthology series too.
Yeah.
It's not like Marvel Comics Presents anthology, but there were a couple stories sometimes in these backup stories.
Yeah.
Some of it has been collected in Wolverine and Uncanny X-Men, but not a lot. I'm curious about things like the adaptations of books, like literature. Like,
yeah, there's some creator-owned material in this, and I
That's
wonder
what I'm
if the
curious
reason
about.
it's so short is because they negotiated the ability to publish that stuff.
Possibly. But I'm a pretty good example of a customer who I will gladly buy this, and for me, it won't be double dipping because there won't be. If that stuff is collected elsewhere, I probably don't have it.
I'll let you know.
Except for the early X-Men issues. The early X-Men issues, I have them, you know, collected, but otherwise, yeah.
Yeah, this is. I mean, if you look up the lineup of some of these folks, it's just amazing.
Yeah,
Like
it
George
is.
Perez, Roger
It
Stern,
is.
Paul Smith, Michael Golden.
It's a runway of talent. Yeah.
Probably one of my favorite announcements of all time because people, you know, were like, "There's no way they're ever gonna do Doom." You know, a problematic creator, even though that problematic creator has had a Excalibur Volume 3. Like, you know, they're not shying away from things like that. I think both Marvel and DC absolutely took me by surprise that they put the entire thing together with Ultimate Fantastic Four. Missing from here is, of course, The Fall of the Hammer, which has been collected fully in X-Men and in Spider-Man 2099. I think it's a big book. I don't know. I mean, I know people are asking to add things here. And it's those AD books. Is that right, Peter? I think you know.
Yeah.
Can
This
you shoot those?
Sorry.
No.
Hold
I
on,
just
I will.
was going to ask you to add or shoot them in the private chat so I can add them. It's already a big book. I can probably tell you they're going to say no, but I'm going to try.
I can see the logic in them doing a big book here because, you know, potentially always sales go down from volume 1 to volume 2. And they might be like, let's just get it all out there right now. Oh, you like this? Fine. Pay for all of it. It makes sense.
It's only 3 issues. It could. I mean, this is stretching it because this is a lot because of the Fantastic Four 2099, which is 8 issues. So that pushes this into the 50s zone. It might not feasibly be able to fit 3 more issues.
I am very excited because I've heard nothing but great things about Doom 2099. So I'm really excited to read this.
This is
visibly vibrating.
This is a really, really good comment right here. Don't add to Doom 2099. We don't want a Road to Onslaught situation where they split it into 2 Omnis. That's right. You all kept asking me to add things that they were like, yeah, we'll add it all in there. We'll just make 2 books out of it.
Better than it being skipped when it comes to X-Men.
Sure.
I don't know. I'm sure there were people that were like, oh, man, it was just 1 book. It was perfect. Now I'm going to spend twice as much. No. So that is a good point. But I'll do what the majority wants. How about 2099 AD Omnibus, Omar? You like that story? Would be great. Is there enough content for it, though, for a big 2099 AD? Thank you for the super chat, David.
Real talk,
already...
I think there's going to be a 2099 companion omnibus eventually. That we know that FF is in this, it's going to be Ravage, on all the unlimited stories that haven't been collected elsewhere, and all of the little like one-shot
Punisher 2099. I mean, that went on for a while with Ravage. And
Punisher 2099, I think, will get his own. Ravage, because it's not. What do you market that under? It's like not a Stan Lee's Ravage.
Yeah, you put it as Stan Lee's Ravage. Absolutely.
Well, then you call it Marvel 2099 by Stan Lee, and it's headlined with Ravage, and then it's got that 20 random issues of other stuff, and then we have a whole line of 2099 collected.
It's just nuts to think that this entire universe might be collected in omnibus format one day.
Yeah, no
We're
kidding.
so close.
It's crazy.
Well, we're going so close. Although I think we're thinking of everything before Ultimatum. There is actually quite a bit after Ultimatum, but
Ultimatum is not 2099.
Oh damn it! I'm sorry. I'm so tired.
No, it's okay, Lars. It's okay. I got it. I'll fix it. There we go. But I made you people take tests before joining the panel.
That is a drastic improvement. Yes, absolutely.
You asked for it. All right.
Oh,
Strike
I'm
Force
sorry, I'll get
Morituri, not part of the Ultimate Universe, not part of the 2099 universe. Let's go ahead and make that clear. This is actually set in another universe in the future where aliens have come and taken over. And now it's up to this Strike Force team that have given up their humanity or their lives, really, to fight back and become weapons. I remember finding these when I was a kid and finding them at like the quarter bins because I was like, what? Because at one time I was that kid that was like, well, it's a Marvel comic or a DC comic. I got to buy it. I got to get the whole set because everything had value to it at one time. And I thought, but this is so obscure that we're getting things like this. Like, Peter, did we even have this? Like, where was this ranked?
Hold one moment, please.
Even I've read this, which is weird that I've read this.
Yeah, this is obscure for Marvel.
Has this title published anything at all ever since 1989?
Some of the characters have shown up in other things.
Okay, but there's
No,
been
no, and I'm sorry, not even the characters, but just like the lore. And it is an all-in-one. There is no more after this.
No, that's what makes it a little even more obscure. Yeah.
This ranked about halfway on the poll.
Really?
Of the 600 and some responses, it was towards the middle.
Okay, that actually surprises me. Interesting. I thought it was way lower. So cool. Completely by surprise. Very awesome. Strange Academy, mine and my kids. This is the one I think people want things added.
Yeah.
Because it's not Strange Academy by Scotty Young and Humberto Ramos. There were a few one-shots. Just give me a minute and I'll go ahead and start that. Seeing a lot of people ask for the one-shots.
Later? I read them all. I feel like they came after. But let me go look at
there's the tie-in to the death of character.
Oh, yeah. That could
that takes place during this era. That's
actually one issue.
Yeah.
And that would be a nice little Easter egg for the people who already have the trades.
Oh, thank you, David. Not for nothing, Omar, but that Doom 2099 still missing some important issues. Hoping you can request they add it later. Thank you so much. Strange Academy needs the 4 one-shots. Can you name them, please? Well, I don't know if they'll add the Blood Hunt. That's too new. Because I think this is like the first 2 years, right?
I think it should just have Strange Academy presents the Death of Doctor Strange #1. That's
spoiler.
All right, talk to me about names here. Strange Academy, Death of Doctor Strange. What about the Miles Morales team up?
So personally, I think that would come in some follow-up book because it's canonically after finals.
Oh, it is?
Yes.
I really thought those teams. So there's Miles Morales, there's Spider-Man, and then there was another team up, right?
There's Miles Spider-Man, and then there's Amazing Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. So it's 3 issues. It was actually really good. It's collected as Deadly Field Trip. It's really fun and a good read. And then they next pop up in Blood Hunt. So I think that would be like the next chapter. I think this really should end with finals. It's just missing the death of one shot.
He got better. So Amazing Spider-Man, Miles Morales, Moon Knight. What about the Moon Knight one?
It's part of that. It goes Miles, Moon Knight, Amazing Spider-Man.
And all that
trade. And what Cody is saying is that trade paperback also has the Death of Doctor Strange one shot in it, so that if people are only buying Strange Academy books, they have a way to get that one shot, because previously it was only collected with Death of Doctor Strange.
Yeah, I don't know if they'll add those then. It's called Strange Academy, the Deadly Field Trip?
Yes.
That's what the trade's called?
Yes. I don't think they should add it. I'm against it. Crisis coming out against.
Well, I want to do what the majority does. This isn't the Omar or Crisis show. It's just...
No, it isn't the Crisis show.
What the people...
Because I disagree with a lot of these books that are getting released.
I love this book getting released. I can't wait to read it in something other than digest form.
With my old eyes. My kids and I love this book. It's a lot of fun. I feel like this is the stuff that Marvel is missing. And, DC too. But they've done this before. Like, they've done Avengers Academy. They've done Gotham Academy.
Yeah.
And for some reason, those books just never go over a certain issue count. But
I love this book a lot.
So what do y'all think? Add everything or no?
I mean, it wouldn't hurt to add it. I'm just saying it's like it's kind of starts a new chapter for these characters' lives.
Well, the worst they can say is like, no, we already got plans. Okay, Moon Knight, Miles, Spidey, right? Those 4. Yes.
Sure.
Okay.
So again, there's a Strange Academy presents The Death of Doctor Strange 1. That is canonically around this time. Then, separately, there are the 3 issues that make up Deadly Field Trip, which is Miles Morales, Moon Knight, and Amazing Spider-Man, which happens to also collect that Death of Doctor Strange issue.
But the entirety of that collection is called Strange Academy, The Deadly Field Trip, correct?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to ask the chat. So I'm going to take a poll. You're right. Go to your phones, go to whatever and ask or answer the question. There we go. That's what I meant to say. Answer the question. And for that matter, anybody in the panel can also vote. So it's
I don't know how.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. I just want this book.
All right, I'm going to leave this up for 3 minutes. That's it. So it is your chance to vote. Starting poll.
Patrick, that's okay, Boomer.
And I'm sorry, I'm not going to put a meh, whatever, because I really just want answers, yes or no. So there you go. As I'm asking away. Thank you, Peter. So what that trade paperback is, The Death of Doctor Strange. You've heard it already. Strange Academy, the Miles Morales, Moon Knight, and Amazing Spider-Man one shot. So you all go and vote. You can take your phone and be like, oh, here we go. I'm going to vote. You go say yes or no. Look, Lars went to go vote. Or the bathroom.
We got to get to July.
We're getting there.
We're at the end of May.
Wolverine Volume 6.
Oh, no. There goes the next half hour.
Well, thank you, James. I appreciate it.
What did James say?
At 8:23. 8:23? Is it that late? Yay.
Good job. Congratulations. We'll celebrate afterwards. You go celebrate with your people, man.
Thank you.
Lars ran off to find his line.
No, I went to open the door to get the air conditioning in here because my comic book room has no air conditioning. So
all right. So while you all are voting for Strange Academy Omnibus, I'm gonna leave that up for another 2 minutes. We got over 100 votes. Go and vote because your voice matters. Wolverine Volume 6. This is collecting the No-Nos era. This is collecting the I think I'm taking a break from comics era for Omar. I also understand this is the era that a lot of people got into. Jess and I have a mutual friend that loves this era. And if you do, more power to you. I'm glad you do. I'm just glad they're collecting more Wolverine and eventually, holy crap, I can't believe we're at Volume 6. Yeah. I mean, it joins the ranks of Amazing Spider-Man and Fantastic Four as like, if you were to tell the Omar that was announcing reprints at the very beginning that there would one day be a Wolverine Omnibus Volume 6,
yeah,
like, no, there's not even an Uncanny 5 or 4 at that time, you know? It's nuts. Omar, why didn't Marvel call this the no slogan? Because they want to sell the book. So obviously by the time we get to Operation Zero Tolerance, his nose is okay. It only has the Wolverine issues of Operation Zero Tolerance. Oh, I want to talk about that. And Peter can talk about that because Operation Zero Tolerance is the weirdest event crossover out of X-Men because Gen X is doing its own thing. Wolverine's doing his own thing. Even the 2 Uncanny and Adjectiveless X-Men titles are doing their own thing. There is no real crossover in Operation Zero Tolerance. It works more like an event. Like, here's a bunch of sleeper sentinels, and they're coming for you, and that's it. Peter? Thoughts on
I actually like the beginning of this, and then it kind of like I get into eye roll territory towards the end of it. I think the stuff Zero Tolerance. Look, I mean, we could go into my whole taxonomy of crossovers, which I'm sure Lars and I can get into, but I identify a direct crossover as being different than like a status quo crossover or like a bannered crossover, where it's like this thing is happening, it is coordinated across the books, but you don't have the books don't connect sequentially and the characters don't go into each other, but the banner goes across the book and the status quo is happening. That's a different kind of crossover to me. I will say the thing I'm excited for here is all of these minis. Yeah, we got them in the epics, but I just like having them in one omnibus. The Maverick one shot, the Shadow Society OGN, Kitty Pryde Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., which will be double dipped in the Excalibur omnibus when we finally get it. The Ben Grimm and Logan series, which for a long time was like totally uncollected. And Days of Future Past, which I want to say get double dips from being in like Giant Size X-Men or something like that. But I just think it's
I got you.
That's a really fun group of material.
For the people that were asking, hey, Omar, can you ask Marvel to add Wolverine Days of Future Past 1 through 3 to the Extinction Agenda Days of Future Present omnibus? And I couldn't say why. Oh, here's the answer, because it's in this omnibus. Now your Days of Future Past oversized hardcover can be given away to a public library or whatever you want to do to it. It doesn't matter. That's what's going on.
Excuse me. This is one of those series that goes on for so long that I think there's so many tone shifts and so many paradigm shifts.
This is still Larry Hama, though.
No, I mean, it is. I just think there's some point in here that inevitably somebody will think, everyone thinks that it's gone off the rails. It's just that point seems to be a bit different for everyone else. Under my rule of I don't collect stuff I don't like, I actually have to search my feelings as to where exactly in this it loses me. I won't collect all of them. Yeah.
I can't wait to make fun of Lars. I want to make fun of Lars shelves for missing volumes 2 and like a random volume 4 of something. I'm like, what? Who lives here? Do you?
I will say though, like that G.I. Joe hardcover set. I think like the first half of G.I. Joe Real American Hero is like some of the best comics ever, and I think the last half is just ugh. And so what I did was I bought the hardcover of Volume 1, and I thought I'll buy the soft cover of Volume 2, and then just skip, and then save myself $200 and skip the rest of it. So
what? This is actually a really good comment. Put it in both. The reasoning why is because it was years later. It's actually mapped here when it was written and published.
Yeah.
If you were to put it in Days of Future Present, it wouldn't make any sense because, first of all, it has absolutely nothing to do with Days of Future Present. It's a Wolverine that lives in the Days of Future Past timeline. So Wolverine Volume 6 coming out for you Wolverine completists, including myself. It is the beginning of the Elektra training Wolverine to be a warrior again because he's kind of afraid because he's kind of lost his edge. And Silver Surfer. This is the one that I need to take note because it had a misprint. Does anybody know off the top of their head where that misprint was? I need a page and what exactly it was. It was in. I know it was in volume. It was in the reprint, the second printing. I know it was in that. So if you have it, which I do, I think it's like the bottom of the page is the same picture as the previous page. I think is what happened. But if you know what page number it is, that would be amazing. It's on the list. I don't have it handy.
What list? Did he send you a list?
The list.
The list.
Weren't the misprints so bad? They did. They stopped production and they put it back to press. Cool. He's riding Wolverine surfboard on the cover. Page 739. Do I believe?
No. He has no idea. This
isn't your indie underground comic. According to the internet, who is never wrong, pages 337 and 338. Page 496. Mother of God. Can somebody go and check?
Choose.
All right. I'll come back to that, though. Marvel 2-in-1.
Wow.
Another shocker. This is the series that leads into The Thing. after issue 100.
Mm-hmm.
And this collects the first 36 issues plus issues 11 through 12, Marvel 2-in-1, 1 through 36. Annual number 1, Marvel Team Up 47, and then the Fantastic Four annual number 11. I don't know is the answer. Because I know people are going to be asking about issue 21. I don't know.
Because I saw people on Twitter, I mean, people pay attention to you, who immediately were like, yes, he didn't skip 21. Omar knows everything. And since he didn't skip it, it means it's going to be in there. I'm like, whoa.
Wait. I'm going to stop you right there. Omar, ask my wife if I know everything. I'm gonna just, again.
So I was like, slow your roll. I love Omar. He's one of my best friends, but you gotta read for context.
Yeah. So let me tell you the way it works. I get sent content. I get sent the covers. 3 different sets of eyes approved this video. I don't know what PRH has. Yeah. I just know what I was sent. That, maybe they have the latest thing that somebody was like, oh crud. But they did add the Saturday Night Live issue. To what was it, the Avengers or was it the Marvel 2-in-1? No, not 2-in-1, Team Up, the Marvel Team Up. What was they added a Saturday Night Live issue that was not solicited before. So I don't know. Will I find out? I'm kind of scared. Because if I bring attention to it, they're gonna be like, "Oh, yeah, that was a mistake."
Happens sometimes.
If I let it slide, how long do I let it slide? Do I wait till solicits? I don't know.
That does happen sometimes. There's a Doctor Who story that has footage from the Beatles in it. And when they were announcing the DVD, all the fans wrote to the people making and goes, please, 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 can you include the Beatles scenes? And what it did was make them go, crap, we should take that out. So, yeah.
I don't like when Warren is just saying my name. That's kind of creepy.
By the way,
what's only open for 3 minutes? 10 minutes later, thank you, James.
By the way, as it's been playing on the feed, the fact that you can buy the Doc Savage issue on Kindle, and you can buy it on Kindle right now.
So it's digital.
Might suggest that they've accommodated for that.
Well, looks like I'm asking about those, Peter. I'm not going to tell you.
Here's a question I have for the gang. This is, as opposed to some of the short omnibuses we've seen here, like Fanfare, this one's kind of a thickie. It's got 36 issues of Marvel 2-in-1. It doesn't mean it's like the biggest omnibus ever, but allow me to remind everyone, 2-in-1 only ran for 100 issues. Does this mean we're going to get this as a 3-and-done omnibus line?
Yes.
Over a third of it here.
So. Yeah.
I mean, if they keep it the same girth, what's wrong with issue 21? It's a licensing thing because of Doc Savage.
Yeah.
That's what's going on. So I would love it. That would be amazing.
Yeah, everybody loves a girthy thing.
I'm not sure that Doc Savage is public domain because Doc Savage was created in 1933.
We got a while.
It's gonna expire. Yeah, it's gonna expire pretty soon, but not yet.
We got a while. Punisher by Max. Punisher Max by Garth Ennis, Volume 2. And I know the question some people are going to ask, not everybody, of course, why didn't I make a video on this? I knew that the catalog was going to be out public on, when was it, a Tuesday? No, it was a Monday. So what happened really quick for people like, oh, the catalog beat you, or other people are making videos. And look, I get it. Everybody wants to be first. I understand. I have to follow a schedule that Marvel and I have decided on. When that schedule is made, what is supposed to happen is they will hold back things. The catalog will hold back things that I haven't announced yet. Once they're announced, there's communication between Marvel and PRH. Be like, hey, you can unlock this. It's been announced. And here are the covers. That's not what happened. And that's okay. Things have happened like this in the past, and I'm sure they'll keep happening again. So when I found out, this was one I hadn't recorded yet. I was going to announce this with another book that you'll see here in a little bit. At that point, I was like, what's the point? I'll just announce it when I do a recap video. So here it is, Punisher Max by Garth Ennis. And they haven't chosen a direct market cover yet. So I don't know what the direct market cover is going to look like. As a matter of fact, I need to go back to one other thing too. Silver Surfer, that is not going to be the direct market cover. They've already told me that they're going to change that to something else. They weren't happy with that direct market cover. Sorry if you're a fan of Azad Ribbage. This wasn't even a cover for this series. This was a cover for like I think it was a variant for something else, for another series, if I'm not mistaken. And I'm sure somebody in the chat knows. Moving on to Spider-Man.
I recognize the Punisher content because I'm paying attention now, so it's okay. Yeah.
I am. Oh, yes. I'm sorry. I'm talking to Peter like I'm answering Peter. Spider-Man by Michelini and Bagley Volume 2 answering the question: will this collect Maximum Carnage in fully? All of Maximum Carnage is in here. And then the other question, of course, I've seen, and rightly so, is wait a minute, but I have Venom Omnibus, Spider-Man versus Venom Omnibus. That has some of the stuff in here, a lot of the stuff in here. That has the complete Maximum Carnage and Lethal Protector. But that also has other Venom appearances like Venom the Vault, which has not been collected in a Spider-Man Omnibus yet. And it also has things like Venom's appearance in like Darkhawk. Thank you so much, Bruce, for the super chat. Doc Savage goes public in 2028.
Yeah, exactly.
We got a little bit to go. A little bit to go.
Well, don't tell Marvel that because they'll just delay it for 3 years.
Okay, I'm not saying a word.
But I mean, you would think all it takes is a little effort. Just call the Doc Savage estate, say, hey, can you pay a little fee and blah, 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 blah.
Trial of Venom is another one that's not collected in this, that's collected in the Spider-Man versus Venom Omnibus, which I've always considered as a Venom Omnibus Volume 0. That's the way I've always considered it. So it's only for people that really, really like Venom Omnibus or Venom. This is more of like, oh, here's a continuation. Now, if you're wondering where this fits in, I think I explained it in the video, but just in case, this is right after the Eric Larson Omnibus and the Spider-Man by Michelini Bagley Volume 1. Right, this leads you directly into the Clone Saga. This isn't as good as Daniel's Way Venom. What the hell?
Eddie Brock.
But yeah. So now the question is, do you keep your Spider-Man versus Venom? That's up to you, right? I don't know. There is a major double. This is one of the biggest double dip Omnis. Not Mutant Massacre, Prelude, Uncanny X-Men type, but it does have a lot of double dipping. There isn't enough for Michelini Bagley Volume 3. This is it. This is all they did
Clone
together.
Saga starts exactly after this.
Yeah. And Bagley, or I mean, Michelini isn't on the book after that either. Right, Aaron? And please correct me if I'm wrong. This book may get me to switch from epics to Omnis again. Or no, stay strong. Stay with your epics. Even though I'm an Omni guy, get the Omnis that aren't available in Epic, like Spectacular and Web of.
It's kind of wild to me that this is just now in the year of our Lord 2025 becoming an omnibus, because this is some highly beloved, widely commercial Spider-Man content.
To a lot of people, you know, how I feel about Todd McFarlane, how people feel about John Romita Sr., John Romita Jr., Ross Andrew, like to a lot of people, because if you keep thinking about the year, this is their definitive Spider-Man artist, Mark Bagley. Like not even just because of this, but also like Ultimate Spider-Man later on. Thank you so much for the super chat, the promised one. Where does the Thing from Pegasus Project fit into the Marvel 2-in-1? That happens in this. That would be in Volume 2. That's the whole Mark Gruenwald thing. Because like Marvel 2-in-1 was really. Thank you again for the super chat. Marvel 2-in-1 was really interesting because it was like one-off stories with no real story arc, but one thing would happen that would continue into the next issue. But then when Gruenwald came in, because he's just such a continuity guy, he created this concept of like, well, what if we do like a story arc? And that's where that that would be in Volume 2, if I'm not mistaken. And I don't know if the panel knows off the top of their head or not.
Pegasus Project is just after this. It starts in 42, 43, and then it can, in that graphic novel that they are referring to, it primarily collects 53 through 58. So that would be the second Marvel 2-in-1 omnibus.
Homer's babe.
God,
Omar's babe. Omar went and got a tattoo.
this is the last time I let Dom create. I have strong feelings about this. X-Men Onslaught Aftermath, by the way, there was a toss up. Like,
contain yourself.
At one time, this was going to be X-Men Trial of Gambit omnibus, but they decided to go with Onslaught Aftermath. Somebody pointed this out. This very lovely person on Saturday. They just wanted to see my face. That my favorite X-Men storyline that took me out of comics has now 4 Omnis with his name on it.
Good.
And I didn't even think about that. But you're right.
It's
now,
fine.
despite of my feelings, despite of what I think about this era, holy crap, this was a huge, huge announcement, because this is another gap filler. So for people like myself that have been getting X-Men in oversized format, whether it's an omnibus or whether it's an oversized hardcover, this happily belongs on my shelf. This is right after Onslaught, before Operation Zero Tolerance, and perfect. Yeah. And I even get the Joe Mad cover of one of my least favorite stories of all time. But it's still Joe Mad, so I gotta go with that one. Yeah, I love the fact that they're thinking ahead, they're filling the gaps. Will this be obsolete? Yeah, but 15, 20 more years, right, Peter?
No, this is mapped well. There's a couple things we could talk about them leaving out, but in terms of covering the 2 main titles, why would you say it's obsolete? It perfectly follows Onslaught.
No, it will be obsolete in 15 to 20 years when we get Uncanny X-Men Omnibus Volume.
I don't know, man. I think it would just take this. This is a good map.
Okay, talk to me. What was left out?
So I see your point, though. You're just saying if the Uncanny X-Men Omnibus line continues, eventually we'd only collect core issues of Onslaught. And if it only collected core issues of Onslaught, it wouldn't be the same as the Onslaught.
It would not be the same.
Yeah, I hear you. So somebody in chat, first of all, this is way better than the map that we had on the poll. This was number 24 in the poll. This caught everything, I think, that's on the poll map, including X Factor 130, which I'm impressed. But it actually has some additional stuff in it too that we didn't even surmise which could be in it, including Magneto 1 through 4, which is actually Joseph, an extra issue of Unlimited, and some other stuff. But people in the chat are saying around this time is the Imperial Guard miniseries, which then ties into either Uncanny X-Men 341 or 346, I want to say, and that does risk being abandoned. I think
Which
that's
one is
the
it?
only thing that's
what
not
is it?
in here.
What was it again, Peter?
Imperial Guard, the Imperial Guard miniseries. I don't think there's anywhere else that would logically collect
Cosmic
it other than,
X-Men!
of course, a Cosmic X-Men Omnibus.
Oh my God, I haven't seen this guy forever.
Chat, what's up?
Hi.
Good to see chat.
Imperial Guard was a 4-issue miniseries in 97, right? Was it 97?
It started in December 96.
Okay.
Or was it 3 issues?
It might just be 3.
It might be 3.
I think
But you're right. Okay, I'm gonna oh my God,
3.
what if I ask for it and they're like, yeah, we'll do that. But it's now
Break it
X-Men
into
Onslaught
2.
Aftermath Volume 1 and Volume 2.
I just don't know where else it could go. It's written by Brian Augustin. I just don't know
I
if there's
love
anywhere
that
else
guy.
that it fits.
Rest in peace. I love that guy. The whole reason we have Mark Wade's Flash is because of that guy. So I'm going to ask for that one. I didn't even
Now, if
ask.
they just put it in the Cosmic X-Men Omnibus, we'd have a reason to buy that, wouldn't we, Marvel?
I'm not gonna.
They could put that Starjammer series in there too.
I do like that. Well, I would have skipped Cosmic X-Men when you put in the Imperial Guard 3-issue mini. Now I'm
Why,
on.
Brian Augustine? Thank you very much. Yes. I think it's a 3-issue miniseries. I think. I know it came out in
Derek
90s,
Tyler
but-
just chatted some other potentially missing stuff.
God bless. What do we got? Longshot and Dazzler Marvel Fanfare 2-parter. Isn't this way after Marvel Fanfare though?
No. Marvel Fanfare 1996. The like.
Oh,
7
that
issue
fanfare. Oh my
relaunch.
God. The Uncanny Origins material and the Spider-Man team up. Dude, if I ask, they're definitely going to make this into 2 Omnis.
Don't you think some of that would belong in an X Factor omnibus line?
Which, not Longshot and Dazzler.
I'm trying to think of who else is in that.
Well, first of all, Longshot and Dazzler weren't even part of any team during this time. They were gone.
Yeah.
Like every once in a while, some editor would be like, "Hey, what's going on with Longshot and Dazzler? Oh, they're in Mojoverse having babies." So
You know why I'm thinking that?
One of them was
Because
going to be named Shatterstar. Oh, wait.
so Longshot and Dazzler. Okay, let's start the start here. There's a Marvel Fanfare series that was launched at the end of 1996 that was effectively, it wasn't just a Spider-Man, it was just basically a team-up book, and it had different team-ups in every issue.
Okay.
In issue 4, there was no team-up. It was just a standalone Dazzler and Longshot issue to kind of like keep tabs on where they were written by Jamie Campos, who I'm not even familiar with. Then the Marvel issue of this run that I think a lot of people are familiar with is Marvel Fanfare issue 6, the next issue, because that had Luke Cage and Iron Fist fighting Sabertooth, and that tied in pretty closely to what Sabertooth was going through in X Factor. So that was in an X Factor Epic collection, or is scheduled for an X Factor Epic collection.
So what you're saying is ask for that Marvel Fanfare issue.
Well, I just want to be right here. It's 2 issues, 4 and 5. And there's no other X-Men characters, and there's no team up. It is just a Dazzler Longshot Mojo story.
All right. Thanks, Derek. What issues are they? Marvel Fanfare 1996.
4 and 5.
Somebody out there is going to curse out Derek's name if they raise the price of this book to $175.
Well, we got those issues. We got the Imperial Guard issues. Like,
okay, somebody was asking. Onslaught has 4 Omnis. This Road. Oh, you didn't hear the news. Wow. Road is now 2 volumes because people kept asking to add things. So Road to Onslaught Volume 1 is coming out this year. No announcement of a Road to Onslaught Volume 2 yet. Then you have Onslaught Omnibus. Then you have X-Men Onslaught Aftermath. Therefore, 4 Omnis with Onslaught's name.
Well, and the titles here get awfully just spurious because, like, Onslaught Aftermath, how much of this has to do with Onslaught?
It's like, wait, that's easy to follow. Road to Onslaught leads into Onslaught. You read comics, you're smart.
Well, you can follow it a lot, but does it have anything to do with Onslaught? I mean, and the Trial of Gambit's much cooler.
Don't you, David? Don't you say that, David.
Hey, it's Gambit's year. It's Hot Gambit Summer. It's Brat Gambit Summer.
Hot Gambit
on the back of Channing Tatum.
All right, let's keep going to something great. That is Fantastic Four Omnibus Volume 6, joining Amazing Spider-Man and Wolverine, and of course Conan, which is no longer being printed by Marvel.
Yeah.
What is Peter saying? I don't know. What was Peter saying?
What am I saying? What am I saying?
I don't think Peter listens to himself either. I think Peter he's a machine. He just keeps talking. I love it though. Okay. Fantastic Four Omnibus Volume 6, collecting the Fantastic Four 164 to 203, annuals 11 through 13, Marvel 2-in-1, number 20, annual number 1, and What If 1, 6, and 11. Coming out. I'm going to say this. Volume 5 isn't even out yet. This is unprecedented. Like, this kind of throws in the this definitely sets the bar a little higher now for, wait a second, we usually wait 3 years in between Omnis for these classic characters. This is going to be like a year away, like maybe even less than a year apart from each other.
It's almost like there's a movie coming out with some of these characters.
There's a Fantastic Four
the very month of the omnibus almost.
Yes, although why you'd go to that movie and start with Fantastic Four Omnibus number 6, I'm not sure. But
because they put Galactus on the cover and we've all seen the bootleg footage of his giant eye, right?
The bootleg footage.
Spoiler.
Meanwhile, the DM cover, if anybody wants to get the DM book and just send me their dust jacket to put frame and put on my wall, that is one of my favorite. I just love the perspective. I love that cover. It was my choice on the poll for the cover of this book. This was number 52 on the poll. And I believe it had this exact set of issues in it, except for not the what ifs. So good job, Marvel.
Does this line up? Oh, no. This is another one where they are not following creator-centric books.
No, but when they get the Byrne era, the double dipping is going to be thrilling.
Well, the double dipping is going to happen in the next omnibus because
absolutely.
Byrne starts at, okay, first of all, that omnibus is mapped a little different because Byrne starts at 208 or 209. Starts at 209 and it goes all the way to 218.
Yeah.
Then it doesn't collect 219, nor does it collect 222. When did he come back, Peter? Was it 230? 231, 232. Yeah. So there's already going to be major double dipping with that, but that is a creator-centric book. This is following the Masterworks kind of mapping, which I think nowadays could be 2.5 to 3.
Yeah.
Can I hope for a reprint of the Fantastic Four Omnibus Volume 1? Oh, I think we'll get that.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Were you doing Chapel Roan references over in
the chat we were.
Oh, in the chat. Okay. My brother loves Chapel Roan.
Love Chapel Roan.
Okay. Bendis Iron Man is going to be top tier. Bendis Iron Man? What does that mean? What does he know? Wolverine Sabertooth War. Collecting the last part of the Wolverine run. If you've been getting it in oversized hardcover, this would have been volume 5. But I am a huge fan of that Sabertooth and Sabertooth and the Exiles. The actual Sabertooth War is really graphic.
Yeah.
Well, it is, and you feel odd saying that because, like, if you're buying a Wolverine comic these days and all the other characters have claws too, you sort of assume it's going to be graphic. But you're right, even by those standards. You're right. No, it. I wouldn't even describe how graphic it was. It was really gory. Yeah,
and ridiculous things happen all over this book, like the armor that I'm like, go and read it.
When body parts are being rearranged to send a message, then yeah.
But I do like Sabertooth and Sabertooth in the Exiles.
Yeah, they were good.
How have I liked Wolverine's Percy run? I thought it started. I think I liked it. I liked it at the beginning, and then it went to okay, and then it went to not even the art is that great. What am I doing? Reading what is going on? Adamantium Surfboard. X-Force. I think I liked it a little more than his X-Force run. I wasn't a biggest fan of this.
Great arc with Deadpool, though. Essential Deadpool arc.
Yeah, you and Tyler keep going on about this stupid art. And also, Wolverine issues are not that good. Yeah.
Get in there, Tyler.
You caught that.
By the way, if you bought all the Wolverine oversized hardcovers, this is the last Wolverine oversized hardcover.
Yes, yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if they're going to do X-Force in oversized hardcovers, but maybe. Hell yes. Now into my era of Captain America by Mark Gruenwald, Omnibus Volume 2. Taking us all the way to issue 386, Captain America Annuals 9 and 10, Adventures of Captain America 1 through 4. Not written by Mark Gruenwald, but I ain't saying crap. Material from Daredevil Annual number 7 and Punisher Annual number 4. Hell to the yes. The standard edition covers they've been picking for this, and it made me sad that I didn't choose the D-Man cover, because D-Man and Six Pack from Hitman made it on a cover this year. D-Man and Hitman, that's the age of Omnis we're living in. Both of them are on covers in 2024. But that Ron Lim with Jim Lee's inks, oh my gosh, so iconic, so good. So very excited for this era. This is my favorite Captain America run. Streets of Poison. Thank you so much, Bruce, for the super chat. Fantastic Four Volume 6 content is from the era I started reading. 164 was my first comic, and I was 8 years old. I like that era of Fantastic Four. Remember, I think Curtis and I were talking about that. Apparently, the Epic folks don't like that era that much because it got really repetitive. But I really enjoyed it. So how many of these Camp Omnis will there be? I still say 4. We're talking about
this is only 2 epics, exactly. So I think we need 2 more.
Yeah, 4 altogether.
Yeah.
Six Pack on the cover gave me a happy drunken tear. Wasn't it beautiful? I love that story. New Warriors. Oh my God, I can't believe.
Never in my wildest dreams, even if I took a special Marvel Omnibus drug trip and tried to picture all of the most unlikely, I would have this under Marvel swimsuit in the most likely things we would ever see.
Strike Force Morituri?
No, less. I don't even think we put this on the poll.
How dare you?
I mean, I'm obsessed with this. Every time New World's mapping comes up, I'm like, well, where's all the Night Thrasher issues if you're a fan?
I did hint that this was coming. I think it was in my overview. I was like, wouldn't it be nice if the missing issues are collected somewhere else? I think a couple of people caught it. I'm like, boy, I need to lay off the hinting. I was hinting really strong, I guess. Round Robin has been collected. I think I actually want to do this. I think Round Robin is the storyline that has been collected the most in omnibus format. It's in the New Warriors Omnibus. It's in the Spider-Man by Michelini and Bagley. And it's in the Moon Knight Omnibus. And it's in this. How you get people to buy this omnibus if they're not New Warrior fans? You collect the cover, the pull-out cover, the fold-out cover of that issue with all the New Warriors and Spider-Man. No slapstick.
I kind of want to buy all the New Warriors omnibuses now that there's going to be this. It was one of those things that I was being an obstinate little prick about it because I was like, well, it's not going to Night Crash. But now that there's this omnibus, I want all 4 of them.
Wow. Nova and 6 and 7 are part of the Time and Time Again storyline, as well as you'll probably notice too that Night Thrasher is missing issues 11 and 12. It's part of the Time and Time Again storyline, which is collected in New Warriors Omnibus Volume 2. Somebody has asked me before about adding slapstick, and that's my brother. Like my brother, if he were to choose top 5 favorite comics that no one cares about, slapstick miniseries is up there for him. He loves that. So I thought about it because they're adding Ultra Girl. They are taking this all the way up until the New Warriors New Warriors Volume 2 era. And then, of course, they could add the Eric Larson Nova era in there. Is that abandoned now? I was trying to think of where that is. That would be, that's actually 1998, I think, 99, something like that. So it would be around that era that the other New Warriors comic is starting.
So you think they would just put out a New Warriors 4 that would have both of them?
I think it would be a New Warriors. Well, it would be some kind of companion or something. Who is Night Thrasher? He's that badass right there, man, with the armor.
He's got a skateboard too.
Hey, that.
I mean,
I have the action figure and the
skateboard to thrash. Okay? Thrash is all
Nightwing, but with a skateboard.
Thrashing at night.
I don't care. That dude is one of my favorite characters. The way Fabian Icius wrote that, Dwayne, oh my God, I love that. Don't even get me started on my hatred of Seb Wells' stupid freaking New Warriors and the Civil War storyline. All right, moving on to Spectacular Spider-Man by DeMatteis.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think I mentioned this on my Saturday stream, how when I had him on and I knew that the catalog was going to be public, I came really close to, at the end of the interview, to tell him and everybody that this was coming. But at the end of the day, I signed an NDA and I had to keep a schedule. So he knew, though, because I hinted that there was going to be an omnibus with his name on it. And it's not. And I said, it's not going to be your Spectre run. And then after the interview and we went offline, he's like, because you get to announce these books. And I'm like, wait, And he was like, yeah, I yelled at my editor because I was wondering what was going on. Does Marvel hate me? Like, why don't they print my book? Or people keep asking for. That was really cool. And then on top of that, the guy emailed me, like, asking if it was okay to share that because I hadn't announced it yet. Like, share the tweet that somebody tweeted him. Man, what a class act. That guy just became like one of my favorite writers. Like he's already like one of my favorite writers. Now he's like up there. That's a class act move. He didn't have to do that. And it contains issues that take you directly into the Clone Saga again. Mm-hmm. That were not by DeMatteis. Because this is also a Sal Buscema book too. So very excited for this. And I know some people are like, well, what about Kraven's Last Hunt? I think it's because it's by DeMatteis and Buscema that those are not collected in here. Those would have been years early. And they're collected in the Web of Spider-Man Omnibus Volume 1.
Yeah, that one's been collected a lot. Yeah.
This was number 2 on the poll. We got both the number 1 and the number 2. Number 3 was Amazing Spider-Man Volume 6. So we got the top 3 poll choices in the first half of 2025.
Wow.
And I don't think I shared that with the public, but I did share on our Patreon what David said.
That we're amazing and have great taste.
There were influencers.
He said, wow, this is a really great list. Something along the lines of like some of these, he said a couple we're working on. And then he said, some of these are really good ideas. And then some of these are just pipe dreams. But that's what comics are all about. I thought that was really cool. And now we're getting the top 3. This is my most anticipated omnibus in 2025. This is one of the best Spider-Man runs of all. Oh, 178 to 200 is some of the absolutely this is my wife's like favorite run too. Wolverine Goes to Hell. This is the other book that I didn't make a video because I thought, well, it's already out there. I'll just talk about it here. But it is coming back to print. This is Wolverine by Jason Aaron, Volume 2. This time around, we are getting a direct market cover by Arthur Adams. And I think you are seeing it here for the first time. I don't think the catalog has it yet. I could be wrong. But it is collecting the following series, but also Astonishing Spider-Man and Wolverine. And then material from Wolverine, The Road to Hell. This actually collects Schism. If you have the oversized hardcover, you can toss it, or you can give it to your neighbors, or
damn it.
Who said damn it?
I did. I think Peter helped me place it already.
Well, yeah, just buy this, Jess.
Yeah. This is a breathtakingly great run. It is horrifying. It is horrifying. I remember the villains in particular here. I was like, Jesus Christ. But yeah, riveting, but horrifying all at the same time.
And a pretty hard pivot from that initial Iron Omnibus, which is like very like Wolverine has claws, we're fighting commandos, whatever. Like this takes a very different personal, violent, supernatural bent. And I actually vastly prefer this to the first one.
Yeah.
I actually prefer the third one to all of them. I wasn't the biggest fan of volumes 1 and 2 of this, but I really like Wolverine and the X-Men. I thought that was really good. X Factor by Peter David. My gosh, yes.
Wow. Nice.
So excited for this one.
Yeah.
Wrapping up the era of Peter David's run. I know people were like, wait a minute, why did they start with X Factor, like the classic? Because it was by Peter David, that's why.
Yeah.
Will be, this is another one that's going to be double dipping once we get there with volume. What do you think, Peter? 3?
Of what?
X Factor, the original X-Men.
No, why would this double dip? You mean first? Oh, you mean volume 1?
Keep up,
volume
Peter.
1 is going to be a
Peter.
double
I know it's late. Keep up.
No, I just was because I'm already focused on. I would like to just reap my "I told you so" now because I told everybody that this is the perfect page count to have the full all new X Factor series, and people are like, "No, it's too much." I'm like, "No, I know how to do math. This is gonna have all.
I know how to do math. Hell yeah, Pete. That's right. Get mad."
But yes, that Peter David book would probably be double dipped in X Factor, either volume 3 or 4.
So this is the book I was talking about. So this is coming out in September. This is the X Factor, the original X-Men.
You have it a month ahead of time?
Well, I have to read this stuff. Why do you think they send it out so early?
So did they FedEx it to you? This is a legitimate question. Did they FedEx it to you directly from the printing plant in China? Like, how do you get it so much faster?
Actually, I'll talk to you about that really quick.
Okay.
Look how huge that is.
It is so big.
Like, why do I need Cyclops' face that big on my
I know, could have been somebody else.
That's ridiculous. I don't know who the I'll have to ask who the this is the standard edition cover. The direct market cover. I don't know who this will be on the spine. But they used to send them to me from the printer. And then somebody from the printer decided to start selling them instead.
What?
In Turkey.
Ooh, in Turkey.
Through a Reddit group.
Wow.
And Marvel lawyers are all over the place.
Of course they are. Of course.
I don't know what happened to that guy, but so they stopped that. They were like, so these now come from PRH. So PRH does have them this early now.
Okay.
So I have to wait. But yeah, they used to. I used to get them like 3 months ahead of time. And I was like, oh, plenty of time to read. Now it's like, you got a month, read, get these things out.
You got to be careful with those. I think there was a scandal a while ago that DC staffers were selling their comps and DC objected to that. When I was at Wizard, they would give us free toys from Toy Fair. And I actually went to my boss and I said, am I allowed to sell these? on eBay because frankly I don't need them. And they said, yeah, they're your property. Go knock yourself out. I'm like, great. Wow, turkey.
I mean, here's the thing. Look, like I worked at the distillery where people were making whiskey disappear.
Oh, sure.
And if you're making things disappear before Uncle Sam is able to tax it, you're not. Yeah, that's not a slap on the wrist.
That's a big problem. Yeah.
That becomes a huge problem. If Uncle Sam ain't getting his cut, that becomes a huge problem. So, very excited for this. Wrapping up this era, including all new X Factor. Peter said it would never happen, and I told him I know how to map books. I got this. Did we? I don't think we added X-Men Legends though, right? I don't think that was in our mapping.
Which is a really interesting signal that they might be willing to throw in those X-Men Legends by the original creators onto the end of a few of these because all of them are inserts into past continuity.
Yeah. But like, did Peter write any X Factor issues beyond this? They should add those in.
This I mean, that's it. There's no more X Factor.
That's all. Yeah, no, absolutely. They should put those in
until the next one, and I hope he keeps writing because I love his X Factor. So
yeah. Again, this is a run that I love this a lot better than the original X Factor run.
I think a lot of it, X Factor Investigations to a lot of us was X Factor by Peter David. So
and this ends strong. If you're looking at volume 4, you're like, it always like Peter's off the end. No, Peter David got to do his like Lords of Hell story that he'd been wanting to do since the 90s.
And it is still impacting the Marvel universe to this day.
Yeah.
Some people that remember reading X Factor writers, right?
And then the 2014 relaunch, it only lasted 20 issues. That one takes a while to get going. It really does. But like after the last half of it, there's some wonderful stories in there. He was still knocking it out until the plug.
Oh man, and there's characters that are forever changed through here too.
Oh yeah.
You know why? Because no one gives a crap about those characters anymore.
Well, I think that's why Peter would.
They have moved on and doing their own thing. And damn, I miss this era.
Yeah.
Next up. No, that's it.
Oh,
we're at the end.
Baby, we made it. We made it.
We did it.
Whee!
Dom did it. Thank you, Dom. That is actually from the Legends. It's one of the Legends storyline right there. Woo! Okay. So many books.
That's a lot.
So many books. So I went ahead and I got Adam's email too. So I'm gonna start. Was there anything that did anybody figure out where that printing error was in the Silver Surfer book before?
Boy, there were a lot of a lot of different things. Super Laugh Hard, I think, had a very in-depth one, but that was an hour ago, I feel like. So
Warren also had a lot of it. I think James caught some of it in the chat. The Surfer.
It seems like there's a lot.
So Eddie Bruck is saying 304. I got your email, Adam. I'm gonna look at it. I just want to make sure I don't miss any suggestions. My family sounds interesting. Thank you, Max. Paco needs that run for his week. What a weird way. Cyclops is handsome, Omar. He needs to be on top. Okay. Well, you and Lars agree on something then.
What? Wait, what?
He's such a handsome lad. Page 420 and 69? That can't be true, Fear. I know those numbers very well. Thank you very much. I was in the 8th grade once too.
Omar, there's been a lot of questions. We'll do Silver Surfer first. Then I have another thing.
Well, that's what I'm trying to figure out. For example, include pages 496 as the top. That's what I need. Okay. Page 496 has the top half. I'm going to go look at that. I think that's what it is, though. Also, page 337 and 338 are reversed. This is only from the second printing, right? Is that right? Yes. Warren, I'll take your word for it. Omar still has his goatee from the 8th grade. I'm told, shut up, dog. This took years to grow. Years. What were some of the questions, Peter?
A lot of people throughout the stream have been asking, including good friend of the channel, Marcelo Ramos, have been asking about the Kelly Thompson Captain Marvel Volume 2.
Yes.
I think they were thinking it was going to get shifted into this group of books.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, I did ask about that, but they had this little thing called D23 that they were getting ready for. So I don't think they saw that email. I asked about it last week because I like posting on like Patreon. This is exactly what it's going to look like. Give me 1 second because there are 2 slots. Here we go. So in the month of May, there's a book that's missing. And in the month of July, there's another book that's missing. I'm thinking Kelly Thompson's Captain Marvel Volume 2 is put into one of those slots, and Guardians of the Galaxy by Brian Michael Bendis Omnibus Volume 2 is put in the other slot. Those are the 2 books that were missing from previous announcements that don't have a release date. I'm thinking. 420 is legal across Canada. Suck it, US. Yeah, you guys and your legal stuff and free healthcare. Thanks a lot. But our Omnis are cheaper, buddy.
Ha!
Very.
Eddie.
That's right. Sorry, Peter. I forgot you're in New Zealand for a minute. Sorry about that. I just looked at my Silver Surfer and Warren is correct. You will never hear those words again. Warren is correct.
Enjoy
Okay.
it. Yeah.
I am going to know what I'm going to know what Warren said. Thank you, Warren. 496. Really quick. Actually, Peter, I'm on another page. Can you read that off to me?
Some examples include page 496 has the top half of page 474 printed again, while the proper top half of page 496 is completely missing from the book. Also, pages 337 and 338 are reversed.
Thank you. I will make sure to take note of that and let Marvel know. Please print good. No bad. Got it. Thank you. What other questions were there? Any questions?
Somebody just asked, did the end omnibus get moved?
Is that not in the catalog? I thought
I don't know. I'm only reporting what Mr. Tex has asked.
Peter, I need you to be on top of things. The only one that's allowed to be lost right now is Jess.
I don't pay attention. I just, when the DCBS lists it, I give them my credit card and then it shows up my house. I don't really follow the dates as closely as you all do.
Oh, that's a January release. That's why it's not here. Sorry.
Right, because this starts in February.
This starts in
February.
February.
It's not truly all of 2025.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Warren was asking for a penance on the pussy's credibility is in doubt. Not even Generation X penance.
Mm-hmm.
Emo speedball penance is what he's asking about.
Dark speedball.
Omar, as you know, does Marvel have a separate mapping team for each collected edition? Usually the classic stuff, and I'll be honest with you, I don't want to like say like people's names. You know, I know like if you've been reading these, you can look at the credit pages and see who maps what. Usually the classic stuff that's done by they're done the style of Masterworks. That's usually 1 or 2 different guys. There's the X-Men collected editions guy, there's the Spider-Man, and then I think everything else, including the like modern stuff, falls into another category. Thanks for this live for the Web of Spider-Man. Can you please add the missing issues and missing in action and life in Mad Dog Ward? Those were collected in trades, weren't they? 1 trade paperback. Omar, tell DC to make a Boy Wonder Deluxe. Okay, I'll see what I can do. Legacy. Oh, yes, that was it. Thank you. Legacy of Evil. Somebody else was asking me about that. That would be the only play. I'm afraid because it's neither by Sal Buscema nor J.M. DeMatteis. They're going to say no because it's Kurt Busiek and Tex that are working on it. I love that book too, by the way. But I did tell whoever it was that brought it up, I was going to see what they can do. Who knows? Maybe. Hold on a second. What is the name of it again? I can't see. Can somebody read that? Anybody?
What are we talking about?
Legacy of Evil?
Thank you.
Oh, that.
That's why I have a
feel like
panel.
we're operating on completely different wavelengths from each other at this point.
I'm asking questions. Nobody can read my thoughts. What's wrong with you people? Omni Dog, have you read Fatale Compendium?
Oh, yeah.
It's right here,
Yeah.
and I will be doing an overview and a review of it this week. Thank you for asking.
Really
There
good.
you go. There you
Yeah,
go.
I read
9,000
it a long
subscribers.
time ago when it came out, and
Yeah, me
it's a
too.
good chance for me to reread it.
Mhm.
Wait a minute. You have the deluxe and hardcovers, don't you?
I do. This was sent to me from
Gotcha.
some
From a lover?
Yeah, as a matter of fact. And so I'm so I'm going to show this off because this is what's available now. Those hardcovers aren't available.
No, they were supposed to
they're
reprint
long
them.
out of print. Yeah.
Is the Pulse by Bendis collected anywhere? Only in the Secret War by Bendis Omnibus. There is a trade paperback edition.
Yeah.
There's a complete collection, I think.
Yeah, there is a complete collection. It wasn't a very long series.
No.
JMD Buscema only needs the remainder of the Pursuit arc. Amazing Spider-Man and Spidey 45. Web of Spidey 112. Timateus got it. Wrote 389. Thank you. Made me paranoid about that Silver Surfer. Even checked my Tashi copy both in the Omni spot. That's why I'm here, to make people nervous. Thank you for the super chat, Bruce. Omar, I know it's none of the X-Men Omnis we've talked about today, but where would Shattershot be added? Where would it be added? Like if you were to put two books into one? X-Men Shattershot happens right before Bishop's Crossing. That one's big enough to be made into an omnibus. Like they can just reprint that one as an omnibus. Bishop's Crossing and Executioner's Song, neither one of those are that big. Putting them together, I think, would be the solution. But I don't know. They're going to do whatever they're going to do. Do we really want to know what's in Omar? No, you do not. All right. So I asked this question for the DC stream. So what about this stream? What's the one book you're most excited for out of all of the books we saw today, Lars?
Uh-oh.
Very last one. X Factor by Peter David, Volume 4.
Why?
Well, it is such an extraordinarily developmental series. It's moving. It's funny. In a weird way, even though this is called X Factor and the 80s series is called X Factor, they take startlingly different approaches, because this X Factor is basically Peter going, okay, what kind of, not well-known characters can I glue together that'll work really well together and form this good team? The original run is predicated on it's just the original X-Men. That's why they're together. And frankly, heresy here, I don't think the original X-Men really work as a team.
They're so boring.
Number one, they're boring. Now, like the individual characters, I love. Like when Scott or Jean or Bobby or Beast, when they show up, that they're members of X-Men, I think is absolutely spectacular. But those five together, it's dull. It doesn't really work. Their book was canceled for a reason. And that's the only reason. But here, Peter's like, okay, what characters can I make use of? What characters can I develop? The arcs in here are extraordinary. The drama is extraordinary. And it's funny. It's funny. I miss books that are funny. There just aren't enough of them out there. There's some really excellent books being done right now, but they just lack that humorous wit that Peter has. So, absolutely buying this. It's just a question which cover.
Damn, Lars, that's a good pitch. You mentioned something that's really interesting about Peter David is, or one thing I can just add. He was not in control as to what characters he could add. He would ask, like, could I add Shatterstar? Yeah, nobody cares. Can I have Havoc? No, he's part of the X-Men.
He was, yeah.
And then they were like, wait, we're done with Havoc and Polaris. Have them back. And he was like, well, I'm in the middle. I'll take them back. I'll take them back. I'm in the middle of a story. I got it. Can I use Wolfsbane?
Yes.
And she's pregnant with child. And they're like, well, we need her for X-Force. It's a bloody series.
Yeah.
He was
absolutely.
Peter David would just figure a way to write these characters in and out of this book. Like it was madness. Like I can't imagine another writer being that creative. I remember, like we talked about Scott Lobdell coming into Excalibur, going, I don't know how to write British people. Goodbye, half the cast. I can't imagine Ed Brubaker like being told, no, you can't use Havoc and Polaris for your X-Men in space adventure that can be collected in the Cosmic X-Men Omnibus. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I do.
Peter David is a machine. And not a lot of people can do that.
He was absolutely hogtied to events, absolutely positively. Like they took Reign away because Reign was needed in, was it a New Mutants relaunch or something like
X-Force.
that? You're right, X-Force. And so and he was told, well, we're taking her away from you, and he didn't. And then he brought her back later. But he was held hostage to events, but he always does so well with these characters that don't get enough love, don't get enough appreciation, and aren't actual characters. I mean, what he does with Siren is quite extraordinary. And she was a member of X-Force. She was around the place. Nothing like the development and the love and the care that Peter lavishes on her. So yeah, and actually, yeah, again, like I say, that last 20, the last series he did, I think is a bit underrated as well when it really gets going. So I would have happily had a couple more volumes of this if he kept writing it gladly.
I hope he does. I hope he continues to improve. And
yeah, no, I mean, yeah, no, he's always welcome to have about the place. Always.
I'm glad you let him.
Yeah,
Lars, thank you for that. Omni Dog, what's the one book you're most excited for, buddy?
I'm struggling between Strange Academy and Doom 2099. I feel like I will say Doom 2099 because I've heard so much good stuff about it, and I've read Strange Academy, love it, but this has been out of reach because any collected edition of Doom 2099 has been long out of print. If it was collected, I don't even know if it was collected.
I think there was just one, right? Just the Warren Ellis stuff. Peter,
okay, I don't think they were all collected.
That's got to be way out of print. So I'm most excited for this. I think I've heard so much good stuff about it.
Yeah,
this is a good one. This is a good one. It's a good choice. This is the one that had me excited. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe we're getting it all in one. Like, it's not even a volume one, and you're throwing me the Fantastic Four in there, which isn't even that good, but I'll take it. Just like X Nation wasn't that good, but I'll take that. Not that X-Men 2099 was any better. Yeah, good choice, man. Good choice. This is a honker, and I'm still gonna ask for those 3 issues I think most people have asked about. But I don't think they'll do Fall the Hammer, not completely. Peter, my friend, what about you? One book.
I know I'm supposed to say Onslaught Aftermath, but Onslaught Aftermath, we've got a lot of that in trades. I think you only need to scroll up one slide for me. I think my most excited one is Marvel Fanfare. It's just one of these books that I've mapped in my imagination 100 times and never really thought that Marvel would do. And I think seeing this gives us hope that we eventually really could get a Marvel Comics Presents omnibus, which a series of omnibuses, which I want so bad. I have them all downstairs in the stacks as I do all this because I was going to bind it myself. So now I can sell them and use the money to buy the omnibus. But yeah, this is like
talking like a true collector.
This is like something from my dreams. I mean, closely followed by Nova and Night Thrasher. And I'm not joking. These are books that I never imagined in 100 years Marvel would actually make an omnibus of. And so they are all in the stacks waiting to be bound.
Yeah. And to back Peter up, I feel like this was not, you didn't feel like this was a disposable title. I mean, they couldn't necessarily develop the characters because the characters were needed elsewhere, but they put some of their best talent on this.
Yeah, book. It was prestige. It was like go to your comic book shop and buy it was like a DC Black Label of the day.
Yeah. I mean, I could, like I say, I couldn't buy it. I was left out of the mix, but it seemed like something's really exciting is going on there. So yeah, this is a must buy for me.
I'm getting excited for this now too. Then,
and I know people are like, oh, it's only 19 issues, but again, 36 pages, no ads.
Yeah,
non-excuse.
I'm just telling you that it's longer than you think it's going to be.
30 times 36 pages. 30 issues times 36 pages is 1,080 pages. Even if we add 30 covers onto that, it's only 1,100. It could have been done, but that's fine. I'll buy all 3.
Peter, I don't work for Marvel. What do you want me to do?
Well, you work for Marvel. Everybody knows you work for Marvel.
All right.
Yeah, you're going to get canceled like Bo DeMeo if you keep wearing that shirt.
It says Omni fans. All right.
I'm also interested in this since you liked it, Omar. Crimson Rain.
I think it's the best out of the 3.
Okay, I just heard something in your voice.
I had to choose 3. The one that I'm most excited for is the one I was most excited for to announce. And where are you? It's the one that was going to be, if I had it in the original schedule, if things hadn't gotten out, it's the one that was going to be the final announcement. It was the very last book I was going to announce. And it's probably why I was like going nuts on that video, but that's the Spectacular Spider-Man by David Tejas and Buscema. It's a long time coming, and you know, people are like, well, why didn't they give us a Spectacular Spider-Man Omnibus Volume 2? And when you read it, you'll find out why.
Mhm.
This is so good. That entire arc of 178 to 200, some of the best, not just Spider-Man comics, just best comics out there. Somebody brought up something really good, though. Like they said, Sal Buscema got a lot of hate during this time because he wasn't Todd McFarlane, because he wasn't Mark Bagley.
Yeah.
But he could crank out issues. Man, he's good. I love his layouts. I thought he was such a solid artist, even back then.
Yeah. Yeah, JM is always an interesting writer, and it took me a while to read his Moonshadow series.
Oh, that's such a good underrated book.
It is. The way I finally got to read it. By the way, always be nice to your librarian, because I got to be friends with the librarian, and then they wanted me to go up to the manager, and because I was complimenting them on their comic book selection, and then suddenly they're telling me, "Oh, you know, we have a request a book section where you can just ask for books." And the very first one I asked for was, "Could you please buy a copy of Moonshadow by J.M. DeMatteis? I would love to read it cover to cover." And they bought it for me. Well, I say bought it for me. They bought it for the library, and I checked it out. He's always interesting. He's always interesting.
I'm going to go through the chat really quick and see what people are excited for. Yeah, don't let Omar recommend Hodgepodge X-Men Omnis. That was Cosmic X-Men was not mine, buddy. And Marvel Fanfare Spectacular Spider-Man by DeMatteis and Buscema. And Doctor Strange, I can never pick one. Marvel 2-in-1, Silver Surfer, Spider-Man and Doom 2099. Nice. Spectacular Spider-Man, been waiting for that one. 2-in-1, but only if 21 is in there. What if it's not?
But only if 21 is it? Wow, that's
Phil was a man of his word. He hasn't been to the movie theater since 1997. Phil, I can't remember. Punisher Ennis Volume 2. I didn't think we would get that soon. Also Doom. Silver Surfer, Return to the Spaceways is my top choice. Ultimate Fantastic Four, Onslaught Aftermath Omnibus. Oh God, I can't decide. There's a lot. Really, Warren? Did somebody kill Warren and take over his account? Marvel 2-in-1, Web of Spider-Man. Choosing between those two covers is hard. Black Panther, Daredevil, Captain America by Mark Gruenwald, Volume 2, and Spider-Man by DeMatteis. There he is. Peter David's X-Factor was amazing. Not the second run either. Oh, okay. Do we know when Amazon has these books up for pre-order? Some of these will be available. I don't know about all of them. Lars just made me cry.
That's what I do. I want to make people cry. Yeah.
What did you do? I need that Punisher Volume 2 as well. X-Men improved without Beast or Jean and with Angel mutilated. Oof, oof. Always been a fan of Peter Davis writing, including his Star Trek novels.
Well, that's another good example where he takes, characters that haven't been developed. Like Star Trek New Frontier was basically him going, okay, I'm going to pull in a couple characters from the TV show that are complete, but they're basically unknown, and a whole bunch of my own. And it's an extraordinary development. Extraordinary.
Wolverine 6, Spider-Man Bagley 2, X-Factor 4, Peter David and Spider-Man DeMatteis, Strange Academy, Web of Spider-Man, last but not least, Marvel, May 1965. Last one. Gotcha. Nothing against Marvel, but that DC stream was 10 times more exciting. Well, it was also 10 times longer, too.
Yeah.
Spectacular Spider-Man. Shut up, Peter! Spectacular Spider-Man and Web of Spider-Man. We just love talking Omnis. Is this where we talk about how Brubaker stole his characters to make terrible X-Men run? Jess, you liked that, didn't you? You liked the Brubaker run. You didn't like Deadly Genesis, but you ended up liking the Brubaker run.
I've only read... I did not care for Deadly Genesis, but then I read a Hellfire Club backstory with Emma in it that was awesome, and I think I asked you where there were more, or maybe I asked Peter. I can't remember who I asked. I did ask Peter if there were more Hellfire stories out there, like that one that I just read with Emma, where she was a dancer at the Hellfire Club, and Professor X comes in to try and tell her it was back before she was an X-Men. But I thought that was Brubaker wrote that really well. And I asked Peter about that and if there were more Hellfire Club stories like that. And he gave me an answer.
What did he say?
I'd have to go back in our chat to see.
Thank you for the super chat, Bruce.
I thought you were being enigmatic or keeping it private, but no.
He said, yeah, and then he gave me pages. He gave me a place on his site where I could go find them.
There you go. You show him some links.
Yeah.
If I'm only going to purchase one, Fantastic Four 6, really feeling extremely sentimental. First issue. Wait, that's a good question. Let me get through this here. Don't forget Cosmic X-Men. No, don't you forget Cosmic X-Men. And either Spectacular Spider-Man or Cap by Gruenwald, Doom 2099, Peter David, X-Factor.
Rodimus out of the hospital.
Yeah, I was asking about you yesterday, dude.
Good to see that.
It's always good to see you, brother.
Play to win.
Good for you. Good. I'm glad, man. And Doom 2099 needs the MCP. Isn't the MCP story just Doom, like a preview of Doom? Peter? Would you know that?
I do not know that.
I thought it was just a preview of Doom issue 1. Looks excited for Doom. Marvel Fanfare. Can we really call Doom a 2099 omnibus without the Fall of the Hammer triple dip? Doom 2099 needs Squirrel Girl. No, I'm gonna stop reading that nonsense. Onslaught Aftermath has all the series I've never read and have never been collected.
Okay, yeah, no.
There are there's 2 trades that has that stuff. How would an MCP a nightmare, but issue by issue or story by story? Matt, my
Fanfare's
MCP
going to answer some interesting questions because Fanfare issues had backups too. So like some of those, I think like the Black Widow issues where there's a couple of issues in a row, I'm pretty certain they had backup stories. So when we're saying issue by issue, like would the Fanfare omnibus, even those initial Michael Golden Spider-Man issues, I think maybe had some backup material. I don't think the omnibus is going to break up the Spider-Man story with backup stories. Do you think?
Well, like I think about like if you look at the first 10 issues, you have the Wolverine Madripoor story, the introduction of Madripoor. Would you break up that story or collect it as an anthology? If you collect it as an anthology, I mean, first of all, that would be the easiest way for the collected editions department to be like, ship it. I don't know. That's
that's why I think Fanfare is so interesting because Fanfare is going to answer if they're willing to shuffle stuff around.
Well, I hope not. I hope not. In my experience, efforts to shuffle around content like that often don't go well. It didn't go well. It didn't go well in the Orion omnibus. It didn't go well in the House of Secrets omnibus. You know, I mean, just going issue by issue by issue by issue by issue. There is a logic into that. But when you start getting goofy about it.
House of Secrets didn't have a continuing story, though. What's an anthology?
What they did there was they shuffled it around in chronological order, and when you try to shuffle around chronological order, the reading experience actually gets worse. Just put it out in the freaking publication order, and it would have read really well. But instead they're trying to make the reading experience better, but like then the references actually got off, and the reading experience gets worse.
Coming in late, but we're finally getting an Inhumans omnibus. Is this Geo? No, we're not. No, we're not. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we got a Strike Force Morituri.
His earlier work was far superior. This is the Klaus Janson inks, I think, on his work is what I really liked it. Michelinian, Bagley Volume 2, and Jim DeMatteis. Yeah. Daredevil by Nocenti. I was like, where's all the Daredevil by Nocenti people? Punisher Max 2, Fanfare, Silver Surfer Spaceways. Can't narrow it down. I'll just say all the Spidey stuff.
Yeah. By the way, Marvel Fanfare and Marvel Comics Presents, if ever they do it, if you want to read a story, you know, all in one go, it's really easy. You just sit there and go flip to the next chapter, and there it is. Don't try to get clever about it. It won't work.
I am excited for Annihilation. I read Old Republic, Epic, Web of Spider-Man. Yes. Suicide Squad by John Ostrander. Spectacular Spot. Yeah, Matt, watch your mouth. Spectacular Spider-Man is the one I can't wait for. Web and Doom, Fantastic Four 6, X-Factor 4, Ultimate FF, Nocenti, Daredevil, and Strike Force, Morituri. I'm excited for Cosmic X-Men because I need money for everything. All the Spider-Man boys. Of course, somebody named Kal-El would say that. Who let that man in here? I forgot Doctor Strange Volume 3 was in this batch. It is.
Yeah.
It is. Actually, Daredevil by Nocenti is my most exciting.
Coincidentally, of late, I've just been overwhelmed at how big our culture has been. And like Doctor Strange, the legacy numbering is now up to like 450. And you're like, oh my God, 450 issues of just Doctor Strange.
You get a recap of
everything is huge. Everything.
My God, Deadly Genesis was amazing. Vulcan #1. Okay.
Love Deadly Genesis. I'm starting to think maybe Warren Weaver and I are both dupes of the same Madrox.
I feel like you two need to start your own channel of
maybe Warren and I need to have a show.
Yeah, it's called Bad Takes on Comics. That's
maybe that should be like Near Mint Condition after midnight, and it's Crisis and Warren.
But which of you would absorb the other if you touched? I mean, yeah. Would you?
Well, Lars, the truth is that we're all just dupes of Zach Rabaroff, who writes for the Comic Journal. That he's the original.
Cosmic X-Men coming to an always. Ruthless on his Cosmic X-Men. Fanfare did have multiple stories, right? Thanks so much, guys. The zoo is going nuts, so I gotta go. Oh, Doug's good people, man.
He is the same.
Animals.
Absolutely.
Remember, thank you for the super chat, John. Remember when Peter Gillis said, since he wasn't a Marvel employee when he wrote Strike Force Morituri, then he owned part of the rights to it. How did that turn out? I don't know if there was any kind of exchange. So maybe they talked it out. Our pal Sal doesn't get much love. He never did. He was always outshined by his brother. Big jump. Yeah. And when I was growing up, somebody pointed out, he wasn't McFarlane. He wasn't Mark Bagley. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember. Nobody talked about him. Weaving Crisis. Come on over to chat with you. That's an awful name. Near Meth Condition with Peter and Ward. I like that one better.
I do.
Oh my gosh. Crisis on Warren Earth. Oh, I like all these names were awful takes. We have gone on for 3 hours. I realize it's 9:30. I did not mean to go that long. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching, for smashing that like button, for suggesting things. And if you're watching this later, please leave it in the comments. I'll keep an eye out, and then I'll be sending Marvel an email sometime this week. And hopefully they'll be like, oh, cool idea, or too late, or nah. Yeah, we'll see. Omar Annocenti's run went to 291, right? Were there MCP? She did write some Typhoid Mary issues with Wolverine, didn't she? I think those are collected in the Wolverine Omnibus. That Silver Surfer Cosmic Experience original graphic novel has seldom been reprinted since Stan Lee and Jack Kirby owned the rights to it. So is that why it's not collected? Because I know people have asked me about that. If it's a licensing issue, probably why it's not collected in the Silver Surfer Omnibus. Return to the space. What's it called again?
Return to Spaceways.
Spaceways. Yep. They can throw it in the whole Typhoid Mary trade paperback. Okay. I am curious about that one, honestly. So I think I need to ask about that. Return. OGN. All right. Anything else? Last call. Fire Lord over Silver Surfer as Herald of Galactus. Thank you for those thoughts. Yes. Thank you all again, host. Thank you for watching. Are you down with MCP? Thank you, John.
Yeah, you know me.
Or Marvel just rather not trying to get the Lee and Kirby OGN. I don't know. I don't know anything about that particular rights, but I'll be asking. Omar, I exposed the guy who was trying to sell illegally.
Don't
be the. You don't ever want to say you're the snitch, Dean. You don't know if that guy's watching.
Fred Pierce of Valiant remember the story better, but there was an incident where like someone was flogging Valiant content or like illegal Valiant merchandise out of a trunk of a car or something like that, and they got the feds involved. I mean, they literally got the feds involved.
Wow.
Yeah. Original Valiant or 90s Valiant.
That was 90s Valiant. 90s
Valiant, right? Yeah. Okay. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. I'm going to let my wonderful panelists let you know where you can find them, their addresses, whatever.
Again, Lars Pearson, Mad Norwegian Press. You can find me at www.madnorwegian.com. And when I'm not blathering about comic books, I have the great privilege of writing and editing a bunch of Doctor Who books with Lance Parkin. I co-write Doctor Who: A History, which is the definitive timeline of Doctor Who. Over 1 million words. Over 1 million words. It's breathtaking and beautiful and terrifying all at the same time.
Did you count them all?
Well, the computer did. Oh. InDesign did, yes.
Okay.
Okay. Omnidog.
I'm Omnidog from Omnidog's Vault, and I saw in the chat that there was a request for James and I to get together to put out the make a show for X-Men Jeopardy for Peter and Omar and Dom, and it's actually James has actually made it. I just have to bug test it, and then I am going to get those 3 gentlemen on my show, and we will be playing X-Men Jeopardy.
What's at stake here?
Well, your reputation.
Reputation?
I think wives. We threw wives in there.
What?
Yeah.
Is Dom married?
Are we doing a wife swap?
Wait, is Dom?
Oh, Dom's not married. No.
Well, that's not going to work.
No, I think Pride. Unless you want to throw in $20 each, I don't care. I'm just going to be asking questions. I'm not playing for anything.
Well, kind of nobody's a winner in that equation, because if you win, it's kind of expected because you're all really good, and if you lose, then it's embarrassing.
Well, are you trying to harsh my buzz here? I'm trying to get a show going.
Omnidog just wants to live his Alex Trebek fantasy.
Yeah, I'm going to shave off this part of my beard.
Or are you going to do Richard Dawson and kiss all the contestants?
Well, that's Family Feud. I can do that show too if James wants to help me.
I want you to do Saturday Night Live Alex Trebek.
Get Kurt Ferguson on.
Okay. So where can people find you?
Omnidog's Vault on YouTube, Omnidogs_Vault on Instagram, and I have a Discord. Thank you so much for having me on. This was a lot of fun as usual.
Yeah.
All right. And last but not least, Peter, where can people find you, buddy?
You can find me writing about comic books on crushingcrisis.com, which is it's just on the verge, 2 weeks away of celebrating its 24th anniversary and publication under the same masthead on the internet. And you can find me here on video. James will probably put the link to my channel in the chat. I don't do anything on my channel currently. I appear exclusively on Near Mint Condition for the moment. And I have to say, I've had a rough month or two of actual non-comic book life. Yeah. And these gentlemen have acted as my therapists / life coaches for a lot of that period of time. And I'm entirely grateful. Agreed. I come here not just because I love comics, but because I truly love these people and love hanging out with the chat. Yeah. So thank you for having me, because it is a true salve on my sometimes troubled existence.
Same, my friend. Same. Yeah.
And I feel right back. It is very therapeutic, and probably the reason why we go on more than 3 hours and people are like, "Oh my God, you guys went on 3.5 hours just talking about comics." I could go a lot longer. I
knew that I would feel better now than I did when I started the show, and I do.
Yeah, that's because you learned about all these wonderful omnis that are coming out, where they fit into the reading order of things, which ones are double dipping, triple dipping, and all of that you'll forget as soon as you log off.
And you'll probably
you'll be texting me going, "Where does this X-Man take place?"
Yeah, and you'll probably only have to sell one of your kids to a factory to afford it all. Yeah,
I only have one.
Oh, you only have one? Oh, excuse me. Well. Okay, well, good thing you have one.
Don't make me choose.
And I'm the Uncanny Omar. That's it, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. Smash that like button. And I'll discuss with these 3 when the next Evergreen will be and what we will, because Peter and I had some wonderful suggestions from all of you that just kept throwing things out there for the next Evergreen show and making it really difficult. And I'm already thinking about things. So that's it, everybody. Much love. Stay healthy and safe out there. Enjoy the rest of your weekend or Monday.